The story begins inside this PC zone. Someone asked if they had seen the new Kangchi map on Dungeon Craft, an online multiplayer game where users create their own dungeons. A person asked if they had just found out about it. Another shared that he hit first place as soon as he got up in the morning. The other person in the conversation was surprised to hear that. Another group of gamers talked, and one man reasoned that the map was insane, it was really hard. The other person replied that the Kangchi dude isn't human. They wondered how this person got first place so quickly whenever there were new maps. He bet that Kangchi was using a bot or something, it didn't make sense otherwise. Little did they know, the Kangchi they were talking about was playing behind them. He heard what they said, that Kangchi used bots. The man inquired why Kangchi ate there all the time when he earned money like crazy. Kenkai replied that the place had really good food. He said that he hit first place this time, so the man should be ready. The man cursed at Kangchi for talking like getting first place was his right. He commented that Kangchi must really be a bot. Kangchi thought that they weren't technically wrong. He only ever found fun in the game's world and in creating maps. Besides that, nothing else mattered. A few hours later, they left the Power PC zone. The man said goodbye to Kenki and told him not to forget to treat him with that fat wallet of Kangchi. Kangchi bid goodbye. If Kangchi is ever asked why he's obsessed with the game, it's because there's nothing he can control in the real world. He finds it easy to do things in games, while everything seems impossible in real life. Even those inefficient telephone poles are things he can't move. If they were in a game, he could have changed their form and size with just a click of his mouse. While he was absorbed in his thoughts, a truck made its way. It was approaching RMC. He felt bad that, in reality, even an object like a truck can't be removed just because he wants to. The truck was fast, but unlike any other isekai story, it was able to stop on time. Still, it scared Kangchi. He actually thought he'd be ice-skate or something. The truck driver got mad at him and asked where the hell he was looking. Kangchi pointed at something. It was a green light for pedestrians. He told the truck driver to look at the signal first. The truck driver was confused as to when the light had changed. Kangchi crossed the street, feeling frustrated. He thought that if he could change things in real life like he could in a game, everything would be so much more convenient. Then he'd be able to create the world that he wants. Unexpectedly, a rope on a cane that held a steel bar broke. The construction worker yelled for everyone to get out of the way. The steel bar was about to fall on a kid. Our boy saw it. The kid stood frozen. Kangchi tried to push her. The kid dropped her ball, then she crashed to the ground. She was terrified. Kangchi was in full control of his body at that moment. He laid in his pool of blood as the steel bar crushed him. He was losing consciousness, and the last thing he thought was, see, this is real life. The next thing he knew, it seemed like he was floating. He wondered where he was. It was so dark that it felt like he was in a black hole. He wondered if he was dead. Someone called him mortal and asked him how the hell of oblivion was. This monster-like creature in front of him told him that it was now time for him to face reality. Kangchi asked who he was and inquired what the hell of oblivion meant. The monster replied that death is only a means for reincarnation. Kangchi was surprised. The creature told Kangchi that he would give him a chance to recall his memories. Kangchi was so frustrated and confused about what this creature was talking about. The monster called the oblivious one and ordered him to open his eyes. Kangchi was so confused. Then he opened his eyes. Kangchi was shocked. He screamed out loud, but as you guys can see, he was inside a different body now. He got confused. He saw his surroundings, it looked like a castle. Then he saw himself in the mirror. He was shocked to see his reflection. He asked if he was dead, and it made him wonder if he'd been ice-skate, just like what happens in anime. He couldn't believe it, but he felt a sensation. It felt so real that he could tell he wasn't dreaming. RMC checked his surroundings. He wondered where he was. It seemed like he was inside an old castle. Who am I? He asked himself. Then someone arrived and asked him what he was muttering to himself. That surprised him. He was shocked when he was stabbed from behind. He screamed out loud and coughed up blood. Right in front of him was this demon lady who had suddenly attacked him. Blood gushed out as the blade was pulled out from his body. The woman asked him how it was and if he thought he would die. RMC was hurting so bad. He felt that she pierced through his sternum. He asked her what it was for. This bitch asked him what he meant. She replied that since she hated him, she was trying to get rid of him. After saying that, the demon lady raised her weapon again. Our boy realized that she really intended to kill him, But then someone whipped the sword from this woman's hand. She called the person Tarm and asked why he was getting in her way again. Tarm told the woman, named Caldera, that she shouldn't do that to her brother. Kangchi was so confused about what was going on and who those people were. Tarm called Kangchi by another name, which was Kella. He felt bad that Caldera had bullied him again. Tarm gave Kella a bottle. From this point onwards, we'll start addressing our MC as Kella. Kella drank it, assuming it was a potion. He felt relieved. Tarm was amused that Kella drank it. Kella suddenly felt bad. He vomited. He felt his throat burning. It was so hot that he thought it was poison. Caldera asked him if he was going to die. She felt sad because she wanted him to die by her hands. Tarm replied that Kella was in pain but not to the point that he would die. He uttered that the recipe was a failure too. Kella questioned why he had to suffer like that. The door opened. Someone reported that the demon king Hel Kaldun had returned from his hero hunt. Caldera was surprised that their father was back. Tarm said that it was earlier than he expected. Kella was confused. The man had prominent horns and was equipped with powerful accessories. He wondered if that person was the one called Demon King Hel Kaldun. Hel Kaldun asked why he was hearing those vile noises. Kella called believe that this man was the Demon King. Caldera apologized and tried to explain, but before she could utter another word, Hel Kaldun grabbed Caldera and Tarm by the neck and told them to shut up. He told them that it was a humiliation for the moans of the weak to echo through the walls of the Demon King's castle. Caldera apologized. Tarm apologized too. Kella thought that if those two were his siblings, then the Demon King in front of him was his father. Hel Kaldun uttered that he only wished to hear two sounds in his castle, the sound of a great demon being birthed. Kella realized something, and the other was the sound of honorable death. Kella was terrified. There was a loud scream. Before we knew it, everyone was lying on the ground. Kella coughed more blood. He realized that he had reincarnated into another world but as that bastard's son. He cursed out loud. All he could think of was, it really had to be the Demon King out of everyone. Kella, who was a child back then, cried when Caldera poked his eye with a fork. His mother empathized with him. He also told his mother that Tarm poisoned his food. His mother suggested that he pay them back like a demon would. Kella replied that if he did that, Caldera and Tarm would kill him. His mother replied that he just needed to kill them first. Before Kella could protest, his mother stabbed him to demonstrate, and told him that that is how a demon should be. Kella cried out loud. His mother asked him if he understood. Back in the present time, Kella woke up screaming. His maid asked him if he was awake now. He realized that the body he reincarnated into was Kella Kaldun's. He saw that the injuries on his body had completely recovered. Kella possessed incredible regenerative abilities. His maid was disappointed that he had slept for quite a while. She told him to get up since it was almost time for a family meal. This bitch demon was his personal servant, Rin. Kella was much more timid compared to his other siblings, so he had always been despised. He had a memory of when his maid just gave him the clothes to wear for a party, while his brother's servants dressed his brother. His maid teased him that he could help her wear her clothes. Kella replied that he'd put his clothes on himself. She told him that for that day, their task was cleaning the blanket. Kella was confused because he knew it was her job as a servant. His maid even had the guts to sleep on his bed. There was also a time when his maid sent a doll to her place. The new Kella cursed the old Kella in his head for allowing himself, a son of the Demon King, to be intimidated by a servant. He thought about it. His fist clenched when he realized that Kella had been helplessly bullied that entire time. It made him think that his life in that place isn't different from his past life. He understood that those who look weak will die. A few moments later, he arrived at the dining area. His father and siblings were already seated. His father called him out for being late. Kella felt how overwhelming his father's presence was. He realized that he's the Demon King for a reason. As he sat down, he apologized for being late. Caldera welcomed him, and it came with her kicking a knife into his shin. He groaned in pain. Caldera uttered that Kella doesn't seem all that energetic, so he should eat more. Kella had no idea what might happen if they found out who he was, so he tried to hold it in. He simply replied, "Got it, thanks." He ate the soup and realized that it wasn't food, but poison. Tom told him that the soup was made especially for him. He asked him if he found it tasty. Kella replied yes. He looked at those demons and understood that they are not his family, and he will not let them bully him any longer. He was determined to do something about it. He had always wanted to accomplish something by himself. With that mindset, he was acknowledged as the strongest map designer in a game, but when it came to real life, he couldn't do anything. He never wanted to die helplessly again. This time, our boy wanted to be in control. He looked serious, as if something clicked. The timid face changed into a cocky smile. Our boy then called for Caldera while holding a plate in his hand and threw the plate at her face for her to have a taste of the soup prepared by Tarm. Our boy also pulled out the dagger from his shin while telling Tarm that he was going to give Caldera's present to him. Kella threw the knife at him. Hell was confused. Kella grabbed the table and asked his father why demons should gather and have a happy meal together. Then he threw the table while yelling that they should eat their meals by themselves from now on. All three were surprised. Kella was raging in his head. He was up for the challenge and wanted to see who would win. Outside the castle, Kella felt really great. At the same time, Rin was already wondering what had happened to her master. Although he did flip the dining table and got beaten half to death, he was able to completely recover in such a short period of time. RMC could feel the foreign strength. It made him think that he really is the Demon King's son. He wondered how strong the ability of the Demon King is. His maid cut off his thoughts when she told him that it's almost time for his lesson on demonic power, and he needs to get there quickly. He told his maid that he knows and she should stop ordering him around. His maid turned pale and wondered why he was acting that way. Kella thought about his lesson on demonic power. According to Kella's memories, it's one of the worst things he's experienced, but he deemed that there's no reason to skip it. The instructor announced to the class that Caldera and Tarm wouldn't be joining them. He saw that the rest of them were there. Kella recognized the guys beside him. He remembered them from Kella's memories. Back then, Kella expressed that he couldn't do it. The red-haired guy exuded purple flames from his hand, then slapped Kella while saying that it's a lesson. Kella yelled that it hurts. They were the true demons among the demon kin who relished bullying Kella as if it was a game to them. Caldera told the red-haired guy that he's too easy on him. She said there's no need to be considerate, and encouraged him to show them his true abilities. The guy was pleased and thanked Caldera. He released the purple flames again, even when Kella begged them to stop. Kella didn't want to fight. He begged them to stop. The new Kella realized that the old Kella wasn't weak, it's just that Kella had a soft heart. But everything's different now. While thinking of all the devilish things he could do to get his revenge, our boy uttered, "I will now use this strength properly." The instructor announced that they would start. He asked who was sparring during the last class. The red-haired guy answered that it was him and Kella. This guy didn't even bother to use honorifics toward Kella, a clear sign that he didn't respect him as the Demon King's son. The red-haired guy pretended to apologize. Kella was annoyed. A few moments later, they now stood in front of each other. The instructor told them to do the second spar. The red-haired demon exuded purple blades from his hands. Then he asked Kella if he was ready. The class was amused. One student uttered that the young master Kella would get beaten to death again. They called the red-haired guy rude and told him to go easy, otherwise, the young master would cry again. Kella was annoyed. We also find out that this guy's name is Rude, and he looked like he had ill intentions. The new Kella thought that he and the old Kella were similar in many ways because even in his past life, he didn't have the money or strength, and everyone looked down on him, but that was all in the past. At this point, RMC exuded his powerful aura. He really looked pissed. Rude was surprised by the amount of Kella's mana. They all wondered what that mana was and if it was real. This was the very first time they saw Kella get serious. Rude was terrified. He couldn't move because of the pressure. Kella told him that he'd go easy, so Rude would only take one hit. He punched this fucker in the face. Several teeth could already be seen flying out of his mouth. Rude crashed to the ground. I think this is one of the most satisfying punches I've seen this year. Everyone's jaw dropped. They saw that Rude wasn't able to react at all. The instructor asked if Rude died. Rude lost teeth, and his face was all bruised up. This guy couldn't even talk properly now. Kella reminded him of what he said. Kella told him something that he will remember for a long time. "You really dare talk to the son of the Demon King that way, huh?" Rude asked for forgiveness, and this time he addressed him as Sir Kella? Kella told him not to make mistakes in front of him again, or he'll die that way. The students had no idea how it happened when it was Kella they were dealing with. Kella called the teacher, who was rattled, then Kella suggested that he continue the class. The teacher was so scared. Rin was also present in the class, and this time she was worried about Sir Kella. She knew that he was acting weird. The Demon King watched from his balcony. His eyes were focused on Kella. He stared intensely. At Hell Calden's castle, someone yelled that she couldn't forgive Kella. Caldera was ranting at Tarm for daring to throw poisoned soup at her face. Tarm told her to calm down and focus on her treatment. It's because Caldera doesn't have good regeneration like Kella. Caldera expressed that she found it weird that Kella is the only one with regenerative powers. Tarm muttered that it looked like Kella had gone through a change. He recalled how Kella threw the table while telling them they'd have dinner separately. When the three of them saw that, they were in disbelief. At that time, Tarm saw the Demon King's side. Even if it was brief, Tarm saw that their father smiled for the first time in their lives. Tarm was surprised. Caldera was still pissed off. She didn't expect that their father would smile for something like Kella. Tarm agreed that it isn't normal. Caldera asked him what it was that he wanted to say. Tarm knew that Caldera would rather die before joining hands with him, but Caldera was shocked. Tarm suggested they stop their fight for a bit and take care of Kella together. Caldera was amused. She stated that it's not a bad idea. They planned to kill Kella first, before Kella managed to catch their father's eye again. Meanwhile, we see Kella was surprised at the image before him. The instructor said that it was the previous Demon King, Turk Kaldun. In his head, Kella thought that the previous Demon King looked demonic. The instructor explained that Sir Turk was stronger than anyone else at the time. He only passed away due to a cowardly scheme concocted by the Heaven Guild. Since then, opportunistic guilds have been gathering near their kingdom. The guilds surrounding the Demon Kingdom were instilled in Kella's memory. Because of those guild bastards, Kella couldn't even escape the castle. He felt hopeless that he had to live there forever. The current Kella recalled that memory. The instructor told the students that with the large Heaven Guild as their foundation, those bastards are preparing to attack the kingdom. Therefore, in order to help King Hel Kaldun wipe out those bastards, the students should pour their hearts into combat class. The students synchronously replied, "Yes! For the honor of the demons!" Kella was looking fierce. After the class, he sat at the edge of the rooftop. Kella wanted to get out of there because if he stayed, he knew he might die at any time because of these three. Kella talked to Rin, his maid, and recalled that she stated the Demon King was going out in 3 days. Rin replied that it was correct. Kella asked her if she knew that the castle had one weakness. Kella uttered that there's no map architect who can help use the terrain of battle. Those guild bastards are using the neglected territories around them to attack. So Kella would use the time before the next expedition to map out the entire area. It was for his father to be able to destroy every last one of them. Kella decided to help him, but in reality, it was his plan to prepare for his escape. Kella knew that the situation he's in is different from reality, so to him, it meant that he could create the map however he wanted. He ordered Rin to create a secret office in the castle's basement at once. Rin was confused. He explained that he needs a space to secretly work without his father knowing. At the castle, the Demon King was taking a bath. He had set his eyes on Kella. He knew that before it's too late, he needs to confirm something. Back to Kella, he was annoyed at what he saw. Rin replied that it's the office he ordered. The office was more like a storage room, so he questioned why it was an office prepared for the Demon King's son. Rin replied that it's all she could prepare because she had to do it in secret. Kella emphasized that she should do it properly. Kella realized that he has to periodically treat her fiercely. Rin found him scary. She realized that he's no longer the Kella she knew. But when she saw him, she blushed. She finds him cool and handsome. Will Rin be one of the waifu candidates? We'll find out. Kella noticed her staring, so he ordered her to get him a cup of coffee at once. Rin immediately ran to get one. She hurriedly looked for coffee. With that, Kella was all alone in the room. He thought of how the Demon King's castle has no hopes or dreams. Now, it was time for him to create the map. Outside the secret room, Rin was still searching for coffee, then she realized she doesn't know what coffee is. Someone then called her. It was the Demon King. The Demon King asked her what she was doing in the basement without Kella. The Demon King asked where Kella was. Rin stuttered. The Demon King intimidated her to answer. She was rattled because Kella asked her to keep it a secret. The door was closed. Kella was having fun drawing on the map. He felt lucky that the world is pretty similar to the game. He realized that he has the most fun when making maps. It was as if he was back to his previous self. Someone marched towards the door, then it exploded. Kella was surprised. The Demon King couldn't believe that Kella created a secret office without reporting to him. Kella wondered how he found out. Out of the blue, the Demon King stabbed him in the stomach. The Demon King told him that if he wants to kill him, he shouldn't do it in hiding like a coward and should just come for him. Kella vomited blood. The scale of pain was different. He questioned if this was the power of the great Demon King. He thought he was going to die. He showed the map to his father. The Demon King asked what he was looking at. Kella explained that the outskirts of the castle are too disadvantageous for their battles against the guilds. He elaborated that if they change the geography like he drew, it will help in the coming battles. The Demon King was surprised. He took out his hand from Kella's stomach. He inquired why Kella secretly created an office. Kella replied that if he said he was helping his father out of his own impertinence, he wouldn't have allowed him. That's why he wanted to show him the map after completing it. He uttered that as the son of the Demon King, he wants to help in exterminating heaven. The Demon King glared at him, but Kella met his gaze. Meanwhile, Rin was scared. She questioned if Kella wanted to die by saying that kind of stuff to the Demon King. The Demon King asked Kella how long he expected it to take. Kella replied, "Pardon?" The Demon King asked him again, how many days does he think it will take to complete the map? Kella was pleased that Hel Kaldun understood his map. Kella replied that 5 is enough. The Demon King uttered that heaven's forces are reassembling in 3 days and Kella's map will be useless by then. Kella clarified that it's not 5 days but 5 hours. Hel was caught off guard. Kella added that in 3 days they can complete construction before the upcoming battle with heaven. He requested to be in command of the plan. Hel watched him. He thought about it. It seemed that the thing he wanted to confirm about Kella was finally answered. He told Kella to complete his map while having a faint smile on his face. But before leaving, Hel left a firm warning toward Kella. "If you're just all talk, I'll rip you to shreds along with that map of yours." Kella replied, "Yes." Hel then finally left. Kella was pleased that he did it, but even then, he felt pain in his body. He vomited a lot of blood. He got annoyed, thinking that the demon would kill his own son if he had no use. Rin was pleased that Kella succeeded in convincing the great Demon King. At this point, Rin had been captivated by her master. Kella scolded Rin for just standing there. He ordered her to take him to the med. After that, as promised, Kella completed the map in 5 hours. The Demon King's castle forces gathered and began extensive construction. The mages set up illusion magic outside the construction area and transformed the geography so the enemy wouldn't notice. Kella felt as if his new map was being created in the game. Everything went according to his plan. At the Heaven Guild assembly place, someone was shocked. It was Hermazan, the Heaven Guild master. He was informed that the enemies were transforming the surrounding terrain. The knight reported that they had discovered the demons were deceiving them with illusion magic. Hermazan asked what they were up to. The knight asked if they should attack and stop them. Hermazan replied, "No." He knew that doing that was useless when it's already that late. In 3 days, the strongest squad formed in Talcan, is coming. Talua started forming Talcan, their strongest squad, dozens of years ago. Now that elite squad is finally complete. Hermazan was confident that the enemies can't beat the strongest elite squad that was prepared over dozens of years in a mere few days. He uttered that the great Demon King will be defeated. A man riding a red dragon ordered everyone to have strength, and in 2 days they would reach the Demon King's castle. He represented Talcan. The generation of the great Demon King, which lasted for thousands of years, would finally be over. They charged with the intention of burning the Demon King's castle down. A red-haired woman uttered that General Kilman's leadership is incredible. This woman is called Commander Srills, and a young man wanted to confirm if they'll succeed in hunting down the Demon King. Srills confidently replied yes and uttered that the Talcan squad is different from other guilds. They vowed to kill the Demon King. Back at the castle, the Demon King realized that Kella wasn't bluffing about the map. Although it's not perfect, Hell's body has almost reached its limit, so he can't be picky. Tomorrow is the day he will settle things with heaven. For him, this is the last war he would be participating in. Meanwhile, Kella ordered everyone to move quickly since there wasn't enough time. He told the masons to move faster. Kella saw that it's progressing as planned. Deep inside, he felt that it's different from making a map in the game because he can actually change the land as he pleases. He just needs to wait for the battle between Hel Kaldun and Heaven. Tomorrow is the big day. And with that, the day of the battle arrived. The Heaven soldiers rejoiced that Talcan had arrived. Hermazan thanked them for coming. General Kilman replied that the Talcan squad is ready to defeat the Demon King. Hermosen agreed to go to the Demon King's castle immediately. General Kilman hyped them up, but they all went quiet when a blue glow appeared. Hermosen was confused with the rod that glows blue. General Kilman asked what's happening. He yelled that it was a surprise attack. He ordered everyone to be in defensive formation. The soldiers yelled as a massive explosion occurred. Talcon was surprised, but they were still able to deploy their defenses in time. They couldn't believe it. The silhouette of the Demon King appeared, and slowly, his body came into view. They were surprised to see that Demon King Hel Kaldun really went there. Back then, Kella informed the Demon King that he removed the barrier that focuses Heaven's surveillance magic on them, so Hel should be able to use teleportation magic without Heaven's knowledge. Hel thought of the idea of teleporting to Heaven's base. Caldera stopped him. Hold on, father. Don't tell me you're teleporting into the enemy's base. Tarm added that it's too dangerous even for their father. Hel got pissed hearing these objections and asked them if they were doubting the power of the Demon King. They tried to say that it's not what they meant. Hel ordered silence. He stated that he will make the final decision. He decided to start at Heaven's base and kill every single one of them. General Kilman admitted that they were caught off guard, but he vowed to make the Demon King regret coming there. He told the Talcon squad to commence a full attack. The Demon King looked fierce. An explosion happened, and those who were caught up groaned in pain. Kella stood on top of a building. He thought that things were going great as they had gathered all the forces. Kella then shouted, "Now all the preparations are complete!" He ordered everyone to charge. The demons yelled at the top of their lungs and attacked. The heavens were overwhelmed by the Demon King's forces charging at them. They were caught off guard when some came from underground. They got scared because they got ambushed by demons. Kella clenched his fist. He watched them and was pleased that everything was according to plan. Then, someone looked for Kella. They told him that it wouldn't go as he planned. It was Tarm and Caldera. Caldera told him that he wouldn't have done that if only Kella hadn't crossed the line. Kella was caught off guard. Tarm and Caldera just approached him. Tarm told him to die since there's no place for him there. A green weapon imbued with mana then stabbed Kella, and it was a hit. It sank deeper into Kella's stomach. Kella was in pain. Tarm told Caldera that it's time. Caldera didn't waste a second and rushed towards him with her sword. She uttered that his intense recovery rate is nothing. Then she cut off his head. Tarm and Caldera both had their devilish laugh. Kella was in shock, even when his head was already detached. He realized that this is how it ends. His body was about to fall from the edge. Eventually, his head and body fell. It crashed on the ground, and it was a bloody mess. Still, Kella was alive. He was barely breathing. Caldera was pleased that they finally sliced Kella's head off. Tarm suggested that they leave and go help their father. But then, someone brought out a sword. Tarm was surprised. Caldera stabbed him when she found his weak spot. Caldera stepped back and commented that Tarm is quick-witted. Tarm saw the dagger. It was their mother's weapon, and they were forbidden from using it. Caldera argued that they are demons, so no one really cares about the rules. She stated that weapons are made to be used. Tarm couldn't believe her. Caldera uttered that if she kills him right there, she'll be the only one remaining, which means she'll be the only successor. Tarm was furious. He charged at her with the intent to kill her. Caldera replied that the fight was over the moment he was stabbed by her knife. She told him to just die already. These two clashed once again. Meanwhile, Kella's head, even when detached from the body, could still watch the chaos on the rooftop. He questioned, "How can they be so demonic?" He uttered that they're just like how he imagined them to be. Then he closed his eyes and remained motionless. A red glow appeared from beneath his body. His body fell into the hole that was created by Rin. Rin grabbed the head and dragged the body. She attached the head to the body. She was scared. Meanwhile, the demons ran towards the secret pathway. They planned to go around and attack Heaven from behind. Heaven called these demons foolish because they already knew their tactics. The demons were rattled. The Heavens decided not to let a single one of them live. The demons continued to charge forward regardless of whether the Heavens really knew about their plans or not. They did it for the honor of the demons. There was no going back for them. At the same time, a dragon prepared a fireball and blasted it towards them. It had been a while since Hel encountered that. Hel tackled and held onto the dragon's head, then he pulled the head away from the body. General Kilman cursed when he saw that Hel had gotten Philly. The other members of Heaven continued to unleash their attacks. The demons marched forward. Someone got roasted. General Killman asked if they got him. A Talcon squad member replied, "Not yet." Spikes grew out of a body, and the fingers became claws. Hell's body had evolved. It was his final and true form, and boy, oh boy, it really looked cool. General Killman commented that Hell transformed his body exactly as described in the books. They knew it was the Demon King's final form. One squad member reported that he couldn't move his body. Thrills ordered everyone to focus and not let fear get to them. General Killman cursed out loud, even he couldn't stop his body from shivering. He expected that everyone else wouldn't be able to move out of fear. The Demon King knew the only downside to Kella's plan. Even though they could immediately bring their forces to the center of Heaven's base, they would have no way out. That was the only downside. But he didn't bring that up as the Demon King, because the Demon King shouldn't worry about having a way out. He assumed that Kella had taken that into consideration as well. But that's not really important, because Hell decided to just kill them all right there. General Killman uttered that it looked like Hell was planning to go all out in his final form. He ordered them to give it all they had and put their lives on the line. He looked serious. He created a huge explosion. Meanwhile, in the underground of the castle, Rin kept holding the head and body of Kella. She begged him. She was trembling and scared. She recalled a memory when she had complained that it was disgusting. Kella told her to get used to it, because at that time, Kella had lost his arm, and she had to attach it. She placed the arm but wasn't looking. She just asked if it was done. It got attached. Kella was amused that it worked again. The next thing they would do was Kella's head. Rin was surprised. Kella explained that he needed to make sure he could do the same with his head. Rin asked him if he was insane. Kella told her that since his head could be a bit dangerous, they would take it slow. He asked her to cut it carefully. Rin refused to. After some time, they finished their experimentation. Then Kella instructed Rin to go to Caldera's servant and tell them exactly what he would say. He wanted her to make it sound as natural as possible. Rin was surprised, but she did it anyway. She was asked to relay that Kella was planning on killing Caldera in the battle. The servant was surprised. Then Rin told the servant that Kella was going to do it while the Demon King was busy fighting Heaven. The servant got annoyed that the bastard planned to do such a thing. Then Rin suggested that it's a good chance for Caldera to slice off Kella's head. She stated that it would kill Kella, no matter how great his recovery speed is. At the present moment, Rin was in panic, even though it went exactly according to Kella's crazy plan. But she knew that it wouldn't mean anything if he died there. But then, Kella regained consciousness and asked who she was calling an idiot. Rin was pleased that Kella was finally awake. He expressed that he thought he was going to die. He speculated that his recovery speed is slowed down if he gets cut with a dagger imbued with mana, but it doesn't matter since he survived and it's all going according to his plan. Rin shed happy tears. She hugged him and expressed that she thought he had really died. Our virgin gamer blushed the hell out of embarrassment. He pushed her and told her that he's going to survive from then on. He undid the contract between him and his servant, Rin. At this time, I undo the contract between I, Kella Kaldun, and servant Rin, and grant them freedom. Rin was touched. She never would have expected this to happen. And now that the contract is gone, he told her to live the life she wants. Rin was surprised. She watched him walk away. She remembered when they were kids, Kella invited her to be his friend rather than a servant. Rin cried. She yelled at him to take her with him instead. Kella told her not to follow him. She insisted on going with him. Kella argued that she'd only get in the way. Meanwhile, on the battlefield, General Killman called Hell a monster. Hell had lost his arms and was severely injured. It was a puzzle to Killman how Hell was still standing. He realized that he's really the great demon. Killman felt frustrated, but he knew that he couldn't beat him. He accepted that no matter who it is, no human can stop the disaster. Hell glanced at his surroundings. He deemed that the heavens were almost wiped out. His brows furrowed because it was the same for his soldiers. He thought of Tarm and Caldera, even Kella. He guessed that they weren't coming at all. He convinced himself that it's his fight from the start. He was on his last remaining mana. With that, everything would end. A massive explosion was then seen along the area. Back to these two, Rin and Kella kept running. Kella saw the exit. That's where he could get away from the surveillance of the demon castle, and once he's there, he expected to be free. But Rin told him to stop. There was an attack. Fortunately, Rin was able to create a shield to block it. She was right with her hunch. It was because she smelled a strong scent of blood. The humans uttered that Hel Kaldun is still a parent since they thought he's trying to evacuate his children. Those humans thought they were right for hiding there. Kella just realized that a surveillance team was placed at the secret exit. It made him think that the humans knew about the construction all along. The humans wouldn't let a single family member of the Demon King live. They went to kill him. Rin blocked their attacks and told Kella that she would hold them off while he ran away. Kella didn't expect that. He asked her what she could even do by herself. Rin reminded him that she is his servant, and her priority is to protect him. From what Kella remembers, Rin is only capable of simple magic defense, and she can barely use attack magic. He deduced that Rin was planning on sacrificing her own life so that he could survive. When he wasn't moving, Rin glanced at him and told him to hurry up and go. Kella placed a hand on her shoulder and pushed her aside. It was comedic. He told her, "How dare you act strong?" Rin asked what he was doing. Kella told her that if she's going to follow him, she should die at least in front of him, because it pisses him off. Rin was confused. The humans called Kella an idiot and told him there's no way for him to run away anymore. They expected that middle-class magic would be enough against Kella, the weakest in the Demon King's castle. Kella had always been timid, and he hadn't used his powers. He'd never shown his true capabilities, which means everything those heavens knew about him is untrue. Kella slashed the attack away. Even Rin was surprised. The heavens thought it was impossible since what they knew is that he had low mana. Kella charged forward, grabbed the head of the human, and slammed it on the ground. Kella released a huge amount of mana and told the man underneath him, "Is that so? I guess you need to check your sources then." He tightened his grip on the man's face and then crushed him. The man yelled loudly in agony. Rin couldn't believe that Kella just defeated a heaven's mage with his mana. The heaven mages thought it was impossible because Kella should be nothing more than a wimp with no combat power. Kella then set the record straight. The humans were threatened, so they planned to use the Light Spear spell. The heavens believe that with the Light Spear spell, where they use all their mana in a single attack, if it fails, they would be the ones to die. Rin reached out to him and told him to get back. Rin and Kella were struck. Kella couldn't move his body. Rin shivered. She apologized that she couldn't protect him. The humans at this point were gasping for air, but they had concluded that their attack worked. A man took out a sword, but the other one held him back, suggesting that they deserved a little reward for going through all the trouble. Then he suggested that it would be fun to play with Rin. Rin yelled at them, saying that she knew all the things they had done to demons. A man pointed a sword at Rin's neck and told her that he would play with her soon. Kella learned that even the humans of that world treated other people like objects. The man decided to kill the Demon King's baby first. Kella felt bad because the exit was already in view. He couldn't believe that he was going to die like that. He was nearly there. The man raised his sword and told him to die. Rin closed her eyes and screamed the name of her master. But suddenly, a purple glow engulfed Kella. The sensation was new to him. He felt that something was coming. He was surprised when he saw an image of his father. Kella wondered if he was done with the battle. He thought about his plan and thought that it was already ruined. Then Hel asked Kella to listen. He uttered that he had fought countless times and considered all possibilities just as many times. Kella was confused as to what he was talking about. Hel uttered that Caldera doesn't have any consideration for her fellow demons to become the Demon King, and Tarm doesn't have the ambition to become the Demon King. Kella replied that he doesn't care about them. He wanted to know how Hel got there. Hel replied that a Demon King has the ability to pass down his mana to his bloodline before dying. Kella was surprised. Then Hel said that even though it was for a short time, he had seen that Kella is the best candidate to become a proper Demon King. Kella told him that he's mistaken. Then Hel announced that he passes down all the mana left in his body to his son, Kella Kaldun. An orb full of the Demon King's mana started to manifest in front of Kella. Kella told him to stop, but an orb of light entered his body. Hel thought about his son, and told him not to mourn his death. He wished him to become like a true demon. The next thing we knew is that Hel's head was on the ground. Srills called Hel Kaldun and announced that the Demon King is dead. His head had been cut off. Kilman sacrificed himself for it. A pained expression was shown on Srills' face when she saw the general. The Talcon squad members couldn't believe that Hel was dead. When reality sank in, they rejoiced. They claimed themselves to be victors. Meanwhile, Kella was in great pain because of the mana. It overpowered the other light. Rin saw how the light spear was dispersed by Kella's mana. The human got terrified and confused with the sudden increase in mana. Kella scoffed. He thought about Hell and his death, which led Kella to conclude that his plan worked. The humans were already out of mana, so they planned to escape. Kella told Rin to move. Kella could feel an endless void of darkness. It's the power that Hell gave to him. The humans called Kella a demon and told him not to come close to them. Kella brought up what they said to Rin earlier. He was furious. He struck them and told them that they are the demons. The humans groaned in pain. They crashed on the wall. They were in agony. One human vomited. Kella recognized Hell's power, but he also noticed how it's straining his body. He understood that his body can't handle that much power yet. He asked Rin if she could move. Rin replied, "Yes." He told her that they will get out of there. Kella was thankful to Hell. He was able to escape the castle because of him. As the castle burned down, Kella and Rin traversed the meadows. Kella felt free. This was the first time he was able to escape the walls of the demon castle. He started laughing. It made him think that he could go anywhere and live the life he wanted. But a blue light appeared. Kella wondered what that light was. It started enveloping his whole body. Rin told him that it's a teleportation spell. Kella was surprised. He extended his hand and told Rin to grab it. Rin was surprised. The spell lit the whole area. They passed through an island and crashed in the woods near the castle walls. Kella looked around and wondered where they were. Rin called for her master, Kella, and expressed that she didn't know he could use teleportation magic. Kella replied that it wasn't him. He shared that it was sort of like an alarm spell that their father placed on the three of them in case he died. Rin noticed that all her wounds were healed. Kella estimated that they spent 3 days within the teleportation spell. He was certain that Hell did that on purpose so they could heal themselves in case of emergencies. Rin was amazed that it's both a healing and teleportation spell in one. Kella realized that Hell really was still a parent for putting such spells on his children. Rin asked if it meant that the Demon King had passed away. Kella replied that she was right, and it was just as Kella had planned. Rin told Kella to become the next Demon King. Kella replied, "Why would I?" Rin explained that she realized something recently after seeing how Kella had changed. It's that he's the one who's fit to be the true Demon King. From then on, Rin promised to do her best as his servant until he became the next Demon King. Kella realized that Rin must have been misunderstanding something. Kella sighed and told her to do as she pleased. Kella only replied that way because he recognized that he lacked manpower. Rin told him to wait. She recognized the place. It's the magic country Arsal. It's a place where they nurture talent for the sole purpose of defeating demons. There was a banner that stated that Demon King Hell had perished and that the light of Talua is eternal. Kella asked why they were sent there, of all places. He was worried about what would happen if they were to be discovered. Rin told him to use transformation magic before they were seen. Then, she transformed into this beautiful and goddamn lady. Kella agreed. He was confident because it's something the old Kella could do. Then, he asked Rin to tell him everything she knew about the place. She stated that Arsal is a small island country located on the eastern border of Talua. They are blessed by the giant crypt water gore who lives in the nearby seas, which allowed the natural development of magic. They raised many strong mages and have been enemies of the demons for a long time. As one of the countries under the control of Talua, it made Kella curious as to why their father sent them to such a dangerous place. Rin asked him why he decided to come to the capital of Arsal while saying such a thing. She suggested that they run away. Kella replied that running away requires some prep work, and in order for Kella to achieve his dreams in that world, magic is very important. In that country, everything is done through magic. Magic is used even in the most common buildings, and some buildings are floating with the power of magic. Kella thought about learning magic there. Then, he would be able to make even more buildings than he could in the game. Rin blushed as her stomach growled loudly. Kella suggested that they should get something to eat first. Rin happily ate the famous magic dish of Arsal. She exclaimed how delicious it was. She pointed out the next store and suggested trying that next. She ate and stated that it was delicious. Then, she pointed to different stores. Kella was unamused and thought, maybe I should just leave her here. Then Rin suggested visiting a magic bar. Kella told her to relax a little. Inside, someone yelled that drinks were on her in celebration of the subjugation of the Demon King. She urged them to order anything they wanted from the shop. It was the red-haired hero's thrills. Everyone cheered. Rin and Kella were in the crowd, and they were already drunk. They were both lightweights. It made Kella think that taking a break isn't a bad thing. Then Thrills noticed something. Her eyes were on Rin and Kella, and with an intimidating expression she uttered, "What an interesting couple we have here." After a few hours, Kella was vomiting on the side. Rin scolded him, saying that even if he's that excited, he shouldn't drink that much when he can't even handle alcohol well, and it was a festival held to celebrate the death of the Demon King too. Kella got annoyed since she was the first one to suggest that they drink. Suddenly, a rushing crowd appeared. It was because of a new S-rank request. Some were surprised to hear that because they knew that the Demon King was dead, but nevertheless, they took a look. Kella got curious about what the ruckus was about. Rin couldn't believe it. Until that moment, the Demon King hunt was the only S-rank request, but now there was another one. She grabbed Kella and decided to take a look too. Some people in the crowd couldn't believe it because they thought it was all over. They had no idea that the Demon King's children were still alive. Rin was surprised to see it. A large picture of their MC in demon form was hung on the castle wall. Then Kella loudly said, "The Demon King is dead! Why me?" Rin panicked. People turned to them. Rin covered Kella's mouth and explained that Kella was just drunk. Most of the people knew that Kella was the weakest out of the Demon King's children. They expected it to be easy, some even estimated that it would probably be more like a B-rank quest. They guessed that all the hunters were going to be out for his head. Kella realized that he better lay low if he didn't want to get caught. He decided to leave. Rin was about to reply, "Yes, young Master Kella," but she stopped. Then she asked him what she should call him in public. Kella thought about it and told her to call him Chiwu. Rin teased him about what kind of name that is. Chiwu got annoyed and told her to just call him that. Then Rin stated that it was bad. She didn't think people would realize so quickly that he was still alive. Kella told her that they just get what they needed and leave. Thrills was at the place that Chiwu and Rin would pass by. Thrills asked them if the S-rank quest was true. Kella replied, "Yes." Rin stuttered, expressing that they just saw it. Kella remembered that this woman was called the Hope of Arsal. It made him think that she's not an ordinary woman. Thrills expressed her annoyance that the Demon King's son was alive. Kella replied that Kella was supposed to be weak. Rin added that it wasn't a big deal. Thrills looked at them. She placed her arms around their shoulders, then she asked them if it was really not a big deal that the Demon King bastard's son was alive. Kella was alarmed. Thrills told them that she noticed something earlier and stated that they smelled strange. Rin got worried that they had been caught. Then Thrills stated that they must be travelers who haven't taken a bath in a while. She invited them to her place to wash up and get some more drinks. Kella and Rin were dumbfounded. They agreed to it. In their heads, they thought about how they were safe. Inside the house, Kella soaked in cozy hot spring water. The bath was elegant. There was also a nice cup of tea and a snack that he had never had before. He wondered if those were made with magic too. Kella always wanted to live in the world of games, so that moment was like a dream come true for him. He started thinking that the ice sky wasn't so bad. Since the time he was ice skated, this was the first time he felt safe. Meanwhile, Rin was stressed out. She uttered that she'd be dead if she got caught there. Thrills asked her if she enjoyed the bathtub too. Thrills noticed that Rin was so nervous. She stated that she's like a demon who might get caught. Rin simply replied, "As if." Thrills created something from her hand and told her that she'd create something to make her relax. Rin knew it was a holy element. It is the worst scent for demons since it takes their mana away. She was worried because it would undo the disguise spell. She was getting dizzy in her head. She asked for Kella's help. Meanwhile, Kella was enjoying his time at the bath. Thrills expressed that she thought everything would be over once the Demon King died. Deep inside, Rin wanted her to stop talking so much because she didn't want to hear about it. Rin just wanted to leave. Thrills shared that she had been designated to become a mage ever since she was born. Rin stopped Thrills when she yelled, "You can reminisce later." Then Rin hurriedly hopped out of the bath with the excuse that she needed to use the bathroom. Thrills scoffed. She assumed that Rin must not like the holy scent. When Rin was out, she uttered that it could have been really bad. Kella saw her and greeted her, saying that the hot spring was nice and that it made him feel relaxed. Rin told him that it's not the time to be leisurely enjoying a bath. She shared that her disguise almost became undone. Kella asked what she meant. Rin reported that Thrills used a holy scent, and demons lose their mana from just that, especially if it's manifested by an advanced mage. Kella uttered that it could have been really bad. It was funny because he thought of taking another bath before leaving. Rin stopped him and suggested that they get out of there. Srills saw them and asked if they were leaving too. When they said they'd get a second round with her, Rin replied that it's time for them to go. Srills asked them why. She tempted them with drinks and dishes made with magic. Kella knew that it was food magic. Then he agreed to the second round. Srills was delighted. At this point, I smell some jealousy in the air. This scene felt like a meme. Meanwhile, outside Srills' home, there were mages gathered. They were informed that there were demons in there, not just demons, but the Demon King's child. They thought that it was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, so they had to get them no matter what. The house was quiet. Srills asked them what they thought about the food. She shared that it was made with holy water. Kella replied that it was good, but deep inside, he felt like his whole body was burning. He was excited because she said it was made with food magic. Then Srills brought up what Rin and he were talking about earlier, the life she lived. She shared that in order to kill the Demon King, she joined the Talcon squad and trained with her life on the line. She lifted her shirt and shared that she got the scar from a test back then. Rin replied that she didn't see that scar earlier. Srills moved her bangs and revealed a scar on her eye. She stated that she doesn't have an eye. Kella and Rin were shocked. Srills replied that she was hiding it all with magic because every time she saw them, it felt like the pain of that day was with her again. Back then, the soldiers told them to get up and said that the pain wouldn't kill them. The soldier told them that if they were alive, they should get up and think about the Demon King. They were reminded that they were a squad with the sole purpose of taking down the Demon King, that they must endure all pain and kill the Demon King. Srills was still young during this time, and her eye and torso were bleeding. The soldier told them to get up and asked them what their goal was. Even with the injuries, she replied that their goal was killing the Demon King. Srills uttered that she sacrificed her entire life to kill the Demon King and got those scars. She got too close to Kella, then she asked him what they were doing during that time. She lifted his shirt and assumed that he must have a scar like that too. Kella was surprised. Srills saw that his skin was smooth and there was no scar at all. Rin got worried for the young master. Kella was in a panic because Srills' hand touching him was slowly undoing his disguise. Then Srills whispered, "You're a demon?" Kella was caught off guard. White mice crawled from the fireplace, then they turned into humans. Rin saw the mages, and she and Kella realized that Srills must have brought them there as part of a trap. Srills greeted them. Then the mages saw the eye and uttered that Heaven's message was right. They uttered that Srills had been hiding her true self, that she's actually a demon who infiltrated Arsal. Kella and Rin were surprised. Kella realized that the mages must not have been there for them but for Srills. He was surprised to find out that she's a demon. Srills replied that she didn't have to hide it anymore. She brought her staff out, and then admitted that it was she who leaked the intel that she's a demon. What a plot twist this is. The mages uttered that there's no reason to hesitate since she just admitted it. Their intention was to kill her. She told them that she's an elite mage of Talcan, which means that she's not someone that just a dozen or so mages of Arsal can deal with. Rin told her master to get out of the way. Kella was frozen in place as he realized how bad the situation was. Then a loud explosion happened. When it was done, the mages were gone. Rin couldn't believe the powerful mana. Kella and Rin were surprised because it seemed like Srills protected them. Srills knew that they were demons too. They couldn't hide it from her. Srills introduced herself as the Demon King Hell's daughter, Srills Khaldun. Damn, dude. Upon hearing that, Kella and Rin's jaws dropped. Since they didn't have much time, Srills decided to show them through memory transfer magic. Those two were overwhelmed. A woman with Hell uttered that they had succeeded. They were looking at a child. The woman described this child as a demon who can hide her horns and demonic power. The child recognized Hell, their king. Hell told the child that his blood runs through her, which makes her his daughter. The child was surprised to know about being the daughter of a demon king. Ever since she was born, she had always been one of many lab rats. Every day was like hell for her. Day by day, she would undergo painful experiments, and all she could do was endure them. After all, the kids who were born with her died, and she thought she was going to die just like them. She cried for the other children. Then she was suddenly informed that she's the daughter of the Demon King. She replied that it's an honor. Hell proceeded in bestowing her a name, to which she became Srills Khaldun. She was tasked to act as a spy and infiltrate heaven to deliver him their information. Srills thought that if it's for her father Hell, the Demon King, she could do anything. At Arsal, a guard saw that there was someone on the ground. It was a little kid, and they assumed she was attacked by the demons. They carried her and hurriedly went back to treat her. From that point on, she acted as the Demon King's spy. Eventually, she worked her way up to Talua as a mage of Arsal, and in the process, she endured everything that came her way. Finally, she rose up to become one of the strongest in the Talcan squad, the elite force affiliated with Talua. After 15 years, she was finally able to meet her father again. She wanted to run and embrace him, but she couldn't. She was almost there, she just needed to wait until everyone except Kilman died. Her role was to secretly use magic on the Talcan squad to get in their way and support her father until he killed Kilman. Once her father wiped Talcan out, she could finally return to the castle with him. She wanted to live a new life by her father's side as Sril's Kaldun. However, Kilman said that Hell exceeded his expectations. He acknowledged him as the strongest opponent he ever faced. Hell replied that he didn't require acknowledgement from humans. Kilman commented that Hell was arrogant, then he invited him to end it. Kilman had a final attack, which he poured his everything into. He took out the spear of the martyrs. Hell prepared the flames of Hell, Magnalexer. Sril's got worried for her father. Then a loud explosion happened. In that instant, she heard her father's voice. Hell sent a telepathic message that said, "Sril's Kaldun, my daughter. This is your next command. Serve the next Demon King as you have served me, and protect him until the end." Sril shed tears for her father. Another big explosion happened. Eventually, the dust started to clear out. At this time, Hell's head was on the ground. Sril's was in pain upon seeing it. She refused to believe it. She wanted to call out to her father. After witnessing her father's death, she had no choice but to return to Talua since backup forces had arrived. People from all over the entire continent, Talua included, celebrated his death. They celebrated the Demon King's death for the first time in millennia. After that, Srils decided to retire and return to Arsal, her second home, where she began her first job for her father. Her plan was to start fresh in this place in order to avenge her father's death. Back to the present time, she revealed that she was planning on wiping them all out, starting with Arsal. Rin couldn't believe that Srils is a daughter of the Demon King. Kella, on the other hand, was frustrated. He thought he finally got away from his demon siblings. Even though he and Srils aren't related by blood, he didn't expect to have another sibling. Srils told them that she won't force them to cooperate with her as fellow demons, but she would tell them one thing, that Arsal is a core threat to demonkin. As the magic country, the longer they let that place be, Kella, the last hope of demonkin, the sooner he dies. Kella realized she's right. Even in the game, mages acted as an important force in battles. If they let them be, the one who will be in danger is him. One of the mages uttered that everyone must already be headed to that house after hearing the explosion. They didn't want anyone else to take credit for it. She ordered all the mages to use as much of their mana as possible. Kella uttered that those bastards must have thought they were plain humans, yet they attacked them without hesitation. Rin was confused by Kella's behavior. He showed his true form and told them that it's just self-defense. Srils was surprised. She felt the energy and recognized that it's her father's power. That night, they waged an endless battle. In Rin's eyes, it probably looked like a massacre. To Srils, Arsal was like a second home, so she knew the entirety of the layout. She destroyed all of the main facilities of the government, as well as the Magic Academy. Kella used Hell's mana to subjugate those in power who were drunk on the excitement of the festival. Kella slashed them all. With their teamwork, the nation of magic, Arsal, was easily taken down. A loud explosion happened. There were flames all throughout the city, and even the skies were painted with flames. A mage refused to believe that Arsal would fall so easily. Even when he was crushed beneath the rocks, the mage yelled that he won't ever forgive the demons. Suddenly, he was burned. "Yeah, you can't forgive them when you're already toasted, I guess." Srils told the guy reduced to ashes. "That's what I wanted to say. She's the one who can't forgive them." Starting with Arsal, now the Talcan squad and the great empire Talua, she vowed to end them all. Kella was overwhelmed. He asked, "That much?" While Rin thought it's impossible. Kella turned around and uttered that now that they have helped each other out, they should split ways. Srils told him to wait. She asked him if he thought that she wouldn't recognize the mana. She knew that he's the second son, Kella Kaldun. Kella realized that there's no point hiding it. He replied, "Yes." Srils gasped and asked if it's true. Kella realized he fell into her trap. She was just guessing. She was just a tiny bit suspicious. She clarified that she's not a daughter in the traditional sense. She's more like a mutant that was made with their father's blood aura. Because of that, she acknowledged Kella even more as her father's bloodline. She narrated that she was made after Kella was born, so she called Kella her older brother. That was funny. Kella turned pale, and he refused. She assumed that he wanted to avenge their father. She invited him to come with her. In Kella's head, I ran away from home. Revenge, my ass? Srills confirmed with him if he's not running away, since he's the only remaining bloodline of the Demon King and their father's only remaining child. Rin was scared. In her head, she begged Kella to reply that he'll go with her. It looked like she would kill them if they didn't. Kella replied that he's going to get revenge. Deep inside, he knew that he had no choice at this point in time. Srills invited them to go burn them down. Kella replied, yes. He needed Arsal's magic anyway, and Srills would know them all, so while he could stall for time by using revenge as an excuse, he'll treat her as one of them. A mage who was hiding behind a wall had heard them. He immediately thought to report to Talua about it. At the castle, the great king of Talua was informed that they had received an urgent message from someone in Arsal. The old king was in the middle of a meal. He asked what it was. The subject reported to the king that Srills, in the Talcan squad, is a demon, so Arsal's mages tried to eliminate her. The king asked what happened next. Then he was informed that Kella appeared and burned Arsal to the ground with Srills. The king smacked the table. He was surprised to find out that the Demon King's son was in Arsal. The subject speculated that Kella must have connections to Srills. The king cursed out loud. Not only was Srills of the Talcan squad a demon, but for Arsal to be burned down by Kella, if it was made known, it would make them a laughingstock. He ordered them to kill Srills and Kella before people found out about it. He threatened his subject that if he wasn't able to bring their heads, he would be removed from his position. The subject, named Hayden, swore to kill them. He turned around. The head of the Demon King was in a glass enclosure. Hayden thought of how Hell's bloodline was harassing him to no end. He swore that he would burn away all those who carry his blood. After that encounter, someone asked for the news of the Killian squad. A man reported to Hayden that Killian should have received the message by then. He told him to return as soon as he saw the message. Killian is the best knight there is, who exceeds even Kilman. In order to kill Kella and Srills, they need Killian. We were then transferred to this secluded place. Killian received the news that Kilman, his brother, is dead. The knight reported that Kilman sacrificed himself to kill the Demon King. He asked how it concerns him. The knight replied that Talua needs him in order to hunt down Kella. Killian replied that he doesn't care if Talua wants it or not. Since the demons killed his brother, he will kill every demon on the continent. With a protagonist's aura looming over him, he uttered, starting with Kella Khaldun. Now I don't know about you guys, but this is the way of introducing an overpowered villain. Back to our MC. He was surprised. He asked, who's going to eat all of it? Srills simply told him not to eat if he's full. For her, it isn't even enough. Rin inquired if she has a secret for not gaining weight. Srills replied that if it goes in and out quickly, then she won't get fat. Rin was enlightened. To her, it's a miracle theory. Kella felt relieved that Srills isn't trying to kill him like Tarm and Caldera. Kella was concerned that she would be jealous of him due to him being of the main bloodline. Kella asked Srills if she had anything against him since he's the biological child of their father. Srills replied, yes, to the point that I want to kill you. Kella expected that. Then Srills uttered that since he has the same blood as their father, whom she always loved and respected, she can't hate him. Moreover, since Kella has their father's blood, she actually needs to protect him however she can. Kella was taken aback. He couldn't believe that unlike his two other siblings, Srills would protect him instead. Srills promised that she will put her life on the line to keep him alive. Kella blushed and said, thanks. Rin was confused as to why Kella was blushing. Rin shoved the meat in Kella's face and invited him to eat her share. Since he used a lot of mana, he had to eat a lot. Kella replied that he's not hungry. Rin vowed to protect his health until he dies. Kella looked unamused and told her to calm down. Since Arsal's situation should be known to other countries, lots of demon hunters will gather there. Since it isn't safe, Srills suggested that they find somewhere else to sleep. Kella replied that it's actually a great place to stay the night. Kella replied that with a little effort, it will become an impenetrable fortress. First, they changed the terrain to turn it into a secret fortress. Then, while resting, Kella went over what he learned from the fight. After using lots of mana, Kella had to rest right after. Looking back, he realized that even the Demon King rested after a fight. Srills, who used more mana than him, needed an even longer time to rest. So they safely recovered while being protected by the secret fortress. Meanwhile, in a castle, the horn was blown. It's to signal the arrival of Talken's second squad, Talken of White. The king was informed that Talken of White had arrived. The king commented that even just looking at them gives him goosebumps. The king welcomed the return of his strongest squad, Talken of White. The person behind Killian told Killian that he looked like he had gotten several times stronger in that short time. She added that if General Kilman saw it, he would be very happy. The person called Deed was scolded by a woman with elf-like ears. Deed recognized that the woman who scolded her was Audria. A large man asked if they must heed the king's summons. He added that his anger wouldn't be satisfied even if they killed Kella. Killian apologized to him. He replied that he had to show something to Curdley, and he's talking about this white-haired priestess. A little later, inside the castle, they looked at Hell's Head. Killian finally saw the killer of his brother. Deed expressed that it's gross. Audria told her to be quiet. Killian asked Curdley if the tracking spell will work with just the head. Curdley replied that it's possible. The bloodstains on the head will let her search for those of the same bloodline. Hell's Head glowed. Killian then uttered, "For the Demon King, Hel Kaldun, keep your eyes open. See the things we're about to do." After a while, Srills uttered that since they had rested, they should get those bastards. She knew that Talken's second squad would be summoned. Rin asked about the second squad. Srills replied that in Talua, there wasn't much hope that the first squad would succeed in killing the Demon King. Basically, they were being used as an experiment. The squad that Talua sincerely formed and poured strength into was the second squad, Talken of White. Kella listened carefully. It is the squad of Kilman's younger brother, Killian. It is an elite squad composed of combat geniuses. Kella had to verify if their father's killer, Kilman, is weaker than them. Srills didn't want to admit it, but the Talken of White is far stronger than Kilman. She can't even estimate how much stronger. Kella had a serious expression on his face with that dilemma. Rin asked how they were supposed to invade Talua. Srills replied that the Talken of White were all in isolation training, so it would take some time to get them back together. Therefore, they needed to take down Talua as soon as possible. Kella knew that Talua was much bigger than Arsal. Mere luck wouldn't help them win the battle. Then he thought of something. He urged Srills to think about it. With the quest to hunt Kella down, he assumed that the Talken of White were probably already back together. He uttered that it didn't make sense for the three of them to attack Talua without any help. He suggested that they needed an army and a base. Rin asked him about the army and the base. He replied that it should be an army that wouldn't lose even to the Talken of White, and a base that wouldn't fall even if the soldiers of Talua were to invade. He uttered that they'd construct the strongest dungeon there is. Srills seemed amused, while Rin looked overwhelmed upon hearing that. Kella uttered that they couldn't gamble on battles they weren't sure about. If they did, they would just end up like his father. He decided to create the strongest dungeon there is and wage war against Talua. Rin seemed hooked on the plan. Srills replied that he wasn't wrong. Srills wouldn't expect any less from her father's son. Kella was glad that he came up with that on the spot. Srills was now energized to create the army. She knew some guys that they could take in. Rin was on board with the plan. The two women were hyped up. Kella saw how they liked his idea. It was Kella's way to stall for time in order to make his own world where no one would interrupt him. He thought of a map that could not be brought to life in reality. It was his own perfect world. Kella was determined. He asked Srills since she knew some trustworthy demons. Srills replied that there were several. Kella told her that they first needed someone who knew a lot about geography and terrain. Srills thought about it, then realized she knew someone. So, they set off to look for the demon. They traveled. Kella began learning Arsal's magic on their way to their destination. It was not the kind of stuff he should have been able to learn in such a short period of time, but thanks to the Demon King's blood, he was able to learn pretty quickly. He was learning and using magic with his own two hands. He felt that he was getting closer to his goal. 4 days later, they were almost there. Rin inquired as to why a demon would live in such a barren place. Srills replied that it wasn't always like that until the Tolkien staged an ambush. Rin was confused. Srills told them not to move, no matter what. An angry demon came out and told them to tell the forces of Tolkien to stop. The demon asked if they were after them again. He vowed to kill them. Then, he stabbed Thrills with a spear, just as Thrills expected. It seemed like the demons had yet to hear of her. Rin was surprised. She asked Thrills if she was just letting herself get attacked. She urged her to tell the truth. Kella told Rin to be quiet and to just leave them be. The demon asked her why she wasn't fighting back. He asked if she didn't see them as worthy opponents. Thrills apologized to them. She kneeled and told them that she would accept their rage until they felt better. The demon was taken aback because it was the symbolic pose that only they knew. Thrills apologized to them as a fellow demon. They were surprised that she was a demon because she had come with the Tolkien guys last time. Kella replied that it was true. He showed his true self and introduced himself, saying that he was the last remaining child of the demon king Hel. He gave his word that Thrills was speaking the truth. The demons recognized the powerful demonic energy. One of them exclaimed that he was really the demon king's son. They asked if he was young Master Kella. They all kneeled in front of him. The earth demons of the land offered their greetings to His Highness, Kella Kaldun. Rin looked pleased. Thrills did too. She told Kella that they recognized him as the rightful heir. Kella watched them. From a crack in the ground, a settlement was seen. It made Kella think that it might not be hard to create their own army after all. The earth demons greeted the great demon king's son, Kella. They all hailed his name. An older demon told them that he would prepare anything that the son of the great demon king would need. He just had to give the orders. Kella was looking around. He saw that it was a different method of architecture compared to the demon king's castle in Arsal. He didn't expect that a sturdy city could be built without magic and with natural materials as their primary source. The placement of the city was excellent too. Kella would have never imagined such a large city could be hidden underground had they never shown themselves. Kella told Thrills that she was right, that they were in need of the talents of the earth demons. Thrills looked proud and told him that she knew he would like it. Then, aside, she said there was also an excellent warrior they should recruit. Kella asked about it. Thrills replied that the Tolkien discovered the city while journeying to the Demon King's castle back then. They couldn't believe that demons were hiding in such a place. They couldn't allow a single demon to stay alive. They intended to kill all the filthy earth demons. The earth demons ran when the soldiers of Talua arrived. They screamed for help. By General Kilman's orders, the forest that concealed the city was burned to ashes, putting the earth demons at the risk of extinction. But then, a certain earth demon protected the children and asked them how they could massacre people who didn't even know how to fight. He couldn't allow those who lacked a warrior's pride to lay a single finger on the children. It was Thrills' first time seeing a demon who was risking his life to protect the young. Kilman asked for the warrior's name. He introduced himself as Douglas, son of the earth demons. Kilman uttered Douglas's name. He glared at him and uttered that if only Douglas had been born human. Kilman was ordered to cease combat. He decided to leave the place and continue their journey to the Demon King's castle. Douglas was confused. Thrills told him that his bravery saved their tribe. Douglas was dumbfounded. The children were spared. Thrills narrated that Douglas didn't run and tried to save the children until the very end. Rin couldn't believe that Douglas did that. She was convinced that even just his name was something they could trust. Kella thought about it. An earth demon who could engage in combat was more than he could hope for. Kella expressed that he would like to meet Douglas. The old man hosting them replied that Douglas was stubborn and suggested that Kella look for someone else. Kella insisted that he would bring Douglas with him. He asked where Douglas was. At a certain building, Kella uttered. You refuse to obey me? Douglas replied that Kella might be the son of the great demon king, but he was not obligated to obey him. Kella asked what he would do if he were to use force. Douglas replied that he'd die fighting. Kella asked him why he insisted on remaining there. Douglas replied that he was born and raised there, and that he had a duty to protect his homeland, which was why he could not leave. Kella replied that Douglas was as stubborn as they said. Douglas apologized. Kella thought that it was unfortunate. In the game, he had tried so hard to obtain an orc ally like Douglas. He sighed. Kella thought that it couldn't be helped. While he was walking around, he was observing too. He watched the buildings. He found the architecture really efficient. He would really like someone who had the knowledge of earth demons to serve him. Then he saw Thrills and Rin, drunk. These bitches were having a great time. They invited Kella to try the earth demon's amazing liquor. Kella got annoyed at these drunkards while he was doing investigative work at the tavern. Kella got drunk and happy. Our boy had little control over his temptations. Apparently, the three of them were merry and drunk. The old man found them. They ordered the earth demons to bring them to the best resting chambers. After some time, Kella was sleeping on a bed. He looked peaceful. Someone opened the door. A few men walked inside. They had an axe. Kella was still asleep. A demon raised his axe above Kella while calling Kella a wuss. He planned to kill Kella and swung his axe towards RMC's head. But the demon was surprised. He asked how Kella had evaded the axe. That move made Kella certain about something. The demons realized Kella wasn't asleep. They still charged at the demon they called Coward Kella. Kella got up from the bed. He watched them. He was skeptical at first over why Douglas was making things that weren't weapons at the smithy. He saw restraints that wouldn't fit an orc. While he was observing his surroundings, he noticed someone was following him. From then on, he started observing his surroundings even more and noticed a wall with a subtle magical barrier on it. Kella wouldn't have noticed such a subtle detail if he hadn't inherited the mana of the Demon King. He also noticed one weird point, that Douglas was protecting young dark elves, but he never saw any young dark elves anywhere in the village. That's when everything made sense to Kella. His eyes looked serious. Our boy slashed the shit out of these demons left and right, with his hand covered in mana. They fell to the ground. Kella uttered that Douglas didn't tell Killman that he couldn't let the young dark elves die, but that he couldn't hand them over. That meant Douglas didn't care about protecting them, he just didn't want them taken away from him. Douglas shrieked and asked Kella how he knew about it. Kella suggested that they go and release the magic barrier. It was chaotic. They asked how it could be. The orc warriors had revealed their true selves and found that Douglas was being held hostage by Kella, just as Kella expected. Everyone was in on it, otherwise it wouldn't have been possible. The old man who hosted Kella couldn't believe that Douglas failed. Douglas apologized. Kella told them not to move. If they did, he threatened that Douglas would die. They didn't expect that from the coward Kella. At a certain section of the city, Kella told Douglas to open the door. Douglas clicked his tongue while taking out a pink marble, then he placed it on the door. The door opened, revealing all of the missing dark elves. Kella was taken aback. They were in worse shape than Kella imagined. Srills and Rin rushed to Kella's side and asked if he was okay. They saw the door and asked what it was. Kella ordered Srills to take one of the dark elves and show him their memories through memory transfer magic. Srills replied that it's less clear than transferring her own memories, but it's possible. Kella requested her to do it. Srills started. She formed two black orbs as if they were exchanging information with each other. Both the dark elf and Kella glowed. The memory showed that the place was hell. The dark elf's mother's pregnancy and childbirth were forced, and the dark elf in the memory was born. All life in that place was born that way. Among those young children, those chosen by human nobles were taken away by force, as the chosen young elves could be sold for vast sums of money. Occasionally, adults who were captured from the outside would tell them about the world, about the unending skies, blue oceans, fantastic foods, and carefree travels, things they could never learn about in that place. If they had just one thing they wished for before dying, even if it was just one, it was for their children to make it outside and experience those things themselves. Kella was furious. He called the earth demons fucking bastards. Our boy then turned to Douglas and punched him so hard that he should have been renamed Catless. Douglas crashed into the wall. Srills realized that he wasn't trying to save those kids, that they were smuggling them instead. Douglas replied that she was right. He uttered that dark elves are a rare breed that human nobles lust after. The dark elves are a race loved by nature, living in places they recommended allowed them to live in peace, which Douglas concluded made them perfect to raise as livestock. Srills was furious. Rin couldn't believe that they enslaved other demons. Douglas reasoned that with the Demon King dead, they were essential to the earth demons if they wanted to survive against the humans. Kella covered his hand with mana. He thought of how miserable he was from enduring his father's oppression, but those children were living in pain incomparable to what he had endured. He couldn't just stay put when something like that was happening in front of him. He called for Srills and Rin and told them that they would continue the job Killman left unfinished. Srills agreed. She couldn't believe that those bastards dared to betray their own kind. Even Rin couldn't forgive them. Kella uttered that they would cleanse the place of the earth demons. Douglas sought everyone's help to fight, especially when there were only 3 enemies. Everyone charged at Srills, Rin, and Kella. Rin yelled that the remaining orcs were attacking. Srills was furious that they dared to rebel against the great Demon King's kin. The orc yelled that they shouldn't retreat because, unlike others, Kella is a wuss, and they have no reason to obey him. Rin fought back and told them that Kella would become the next demon king. Douglas attacked Kella with bare hands. Kella was thinking that they weren't in a game, it was real life. And if he could change things with his own power, then he wouldn't stay put like before. The Dark Elves watched the fight. They wondered if those three were doing it for them, and it made them think that they should help. A woman held back the one who was trying to help because it was dangerous. They reasoned that if they lost, they would be tortured again. This Dark Elf, Wood, was advised to stay put. Hearing the word, torture, made her recall unpleasant memories. Wood fell to her knees and started to tremble. Kella saw that. Kella asked Douglas if he heard those cries of pain. He told him that he would get all of them back. Douglas uttered that it wouldn't do. He took something out of his pocket and ate it. He told everyone to eat their earth ores because losing to Kella meant losing everything. They saw Douglas eat his earth ore, so everyone followed. Rin thought that stuff was just a legend. Kella asked what it was. Srills explained that when consumed, in exchange for a portion of a demon's lifespan, it boosts their physical capabilities by several dozen times. Douglas's body transformed. He vowed to kill Kella. At this point, Douglas was already ripped. He also looked like he was about to go on a rampage. Kella sensed that their demonic energy had increased alongside their physical capabilities. Meanwhile, our boy couldn't use all the abilities Hell bestowed upon him yet. Douglas was about to punch him. Kella was in a pinch and thought that this was really dangerous. Suddenly, vines appeared and wrapped around Douglas, immobilizing him. He asked what it was. A dark elf stepped forward. She uttered that she would never again be tortured. The other dark elves got worried for her. Douglas cursed at her and threatened to torture her until she died. But Douglas sensed something. Kella attacked him and told him to stop spouting nonsense because it was never going to happen. Kella pierced Douglas's torso. Kella called to Wood. He smiled at her and said, "Thanks. I think I like you." Wood was speechless hearing those words from a stranger. Douglas groaned. He told Wood that he was the one who raised her when she was abandoned and now she was betraying him. Forget about torture. Douglas decided to kill her right there and then. He broke free from the vines. Kella was surprised to see that Douglas's body had gotten even bigger. Douglas raised his fist and punched Kella. Kella crashed into the wall. Our boy wondered if an earth magic stone was really that strong. Douglas went for Wood. He grabbed her neck. Douglas told her that he would rip off her head that instant. Wood was already choking. Kella wondered if Douglas had gone insane. He was more focused on killing Wood than fighting him. Wood groaned. Kella was far from them. He needed a long-range attack. He forced himself. He thought that everything was fine and begged as he tried to release his powers. Suddenly, he was transported to a place. A mist that looked like the mysterious being that was present when he was transferred to Kella's body called him an idiot and told him that it was a place within his consciousness. Kella asked who he was. Then the mist suggested that Kella would rather know how to save the Dark Elf. No matter how slowly time flowed in the consciousness, Kella would still need to act quickly. He remembered Wood. Then he asked the mist if he had a way to save her. The mist told him that he wasn't ready to use the full strength that Hell gave him. However, as his mind and body become more in sync, he can unlock more and more. Kella told him to forget about the explanation and asked for something he could use at that moment. The mist told him that there was one thing he could use. The mist told Kella Kaldan, or rather Conchi, that he would see him again soon. Kella wondered how this guy knew his name. Then he was back in his body. He saw Hell's fire arrow in his hand. He pulled the bow and advised Wood to protect herself. Douglas was surprised. Wood braced herself and covered her body with vines. Kella told Douglas that this would be the end of all his evil deeds. Our boy then released the arrow. Douglas was frozen in place. Bullseye. This fucker burned as the arrow reached him. He cried out to be saved since it was a direct hit. Kella thought it was done. Douglas kept groaning from the pain until the flames fully burned him. Kella was curious about what that thing was that he met in his consciousness. Meanwhile, Rin was overwhelmed because several orcs charged at her at the same time. Srills cursed because she couldn't use splash magic due to the ceiling. Kella told them not to worry and that he'd finish it in a flash. He released 3 arrows at the same time and burned several orcs at once. Srills was pleased to see that Kella used a fire arrow using demonic energy. She thought about how Kella's mana had gotten stronger now. Kella had long-range attacks. He was very pleased. He thought, nice, very nice. It was already nighttime. Finally, everything was taken care of. Srills uttered that the earth ores were far more powerful than she expected. Rin uttered that she didn't know they burned the lifespan of the orc. Kella realized that they had to investigate it, and with that, all of the dark elves were free. He told them not to get caught by bastards like them again, and to live their lives freely. They couldn't believe that they were free. Kella told them that they could leave this place now. They asked if they could take their kids away from the hellish place. They all knelt and expressed their gratitude to Kella. Srills uttered that it looked like they wouldn't be able to take the earth demons as subordinates. She didn't expect to be tricked by those bastards. Rin replied that it's a shame, but there's nothing they can do. Kella confirmed with Woodish she wasn't born there and instead was captured. She replied, yes. Kella assumed that she didn't have a family member to live with either. She replied, yes. Kella invited her to come with them. They needed an earth demon who could navigate the terrain. She replied that she's not an earth demon and that she's not talented when it comes to terrain. She was scared to admit that she wouldn't be of any help. Kella told her not to worry because she's an elf who receives nature's love. Plus, she just showed that she's braver than anyone else in the face of danger, and that was enough. Kella invited her to get up and come with him. Wood watched him with awe. She was touched. Wood didn't even remember what her parents looked like. She was abandoned somewhere, taken there, and lived her life in suffering. She was thrown inside the cell and lived in that hell her whole life. She thought she was going to live like that until the day she died. She shed tears as she confirmed that she could leave the place. Wood asked Kella if she could really follow him. Kella told her that she wouldn't be following him. He clarified that she would be going with him. He reached out to help her stand up while telling her that they would get out of the place. Wood thanked him. That night, several dark elves left. The earth demons were taken care of, and they had saved the captured dark elves. Kella was worried because they had never been outside before, but they were demons loved by nature. No matter where they lived, it would be a better place than that. Wood watched them leave. Later on, Rin started lecturing Wood that she's a newbie and should listen to them. Srills suggested that they find a place where the river flows. Wood pointed in the direction where she smelled water. Rin scoffed and expressed that Wood was pretty good. She was trying to exude dominance over her. Kella asked why they were looking for a river. Srills told them that they couldn't just keep walking like that. They needed to find something that they could ride, and if they found a river, they could find a ride too. Rin suggested that they catch a dragon. Srills told her to stop dreaming about catching dragons. She uttered that they would be lucky to even find a unicorn. Kella agreed to go in the direction Wood pointed. They arrived at the place, and there really were 2 unicorns drinking from the river. These creatures sensed something and immediately ran away. There was a giant monster footprint left on the ground. It looked like a freaking dragon. Meanwhile, Rin insisted that she wanted a dragon. Srills kept telling her that there are no dragons. That same night, Curdley arrived at the Earth Demon settlement. There was one demon begging to be saved. The wife material priestess realized that it was the only one that survived. She was motionless and tried to remember something amongst the corpses. They said camp. They were even grilling meat at the bonfire. Deed wondered why the family tracking spell wasn't working. Curdley had no idea. She uttered that multiple individuals were being detected in many different locations. Kalka replied that there's no way that many of Hell's children remain. He asked if there's really no way to tell which one is Kella. Curdley replied, yes. Audrey asked what they should do since they couldn't waste their time hunting down all of them. Killian replied that there's no choice. They would hunt down the other demons that are spread throughout the continent. He asked Curdley to start looking for Kella first. Curdley replied that she could teleport a certain distance if it was just herself, and she thought that was faster. Deed replied that it was great, and in the meantime, they would be slaughtering. He corrected himself and called it cleaning up instead. Curdley replied that she would teleport herself. Curdley, the sleepy one, finally started, and it was the first time she opened her eyes. Her pupils were blue and empty at the center. Deed was amazed that she left just like that. Killian then invited the rest and uttered, then shall we go hunt down those demons? Back to the present time, Curdley felt the faint energy of Hell's child there. It made her wonder if Kella passed by there. The demon stuck under a wooden pallet replied, yes. He shared that Kella wiped out their entire tribe. Curdley asked where Kella went. The demon didn't know. He asked if she could save him, but before he could beg more, Curdley headshot him. Just like that, the demon died. She told the demon that he's of no use if he doesn't know. Curdly had no choice but to follow the faint trace of energy. She thought about Kella and just uttered his name. Meanwhile, Kella and the rest finally saw the river. He told Wood that she really led them all the way to the river purely based on scent, even when it was days away from them. Wood thanked him again. Rin scolded Wood and told her not to get full of herself just because she did that. Wood plainly apologized. Kella expressed that he was hungry since they hadn't eaten properly for a couple of days. Rin boasted that she's good at fishing, but before she could finish her sentence, fish came flying out of the water and into Wood's arms. Kella was amazed. He asked how she did that. Wood replied that she did it by controlling the flow of water using the power of nature. Srills was impressed. Then our jealous girl Rin felt threatened. She volunteered to start the fire right away, but Srills told her that there was no need. Kella couldn't help but comment that magic is really convenient. Rin froze. She felt depressed, so she just sat under a tree away from them. They eventually ate. The fish was delicious. Srills praised Wood for it. Kella asked if Rin wasn't going to eat. She replied that she's all right. Rin looked sad. Srills teased her that she would eat her portion instead. Rin replied that she could go ahead and take it. Kella glanced at her. She really felt useless. Then Kella uttered that eating fish isn't enough. He wondered if there were any fruits. Rin immediately stood up and told him that she would find some right away. Wood replied that she could find fruits quickly. Kella told her no, because Rin would find them. Then he asked, "Right, Rin?" Rin told him to leave it to her. She would make sure to bring him delicious fruits. Srills commented that she's such a simpleton. Then she told Kella that he's quite considerate. She asked him if he did that on purpose because Rin was feeling down. Kella replied that he didn't, he just wanted to eat some fruit. Then he asked if they could find unicorns around the area. She said that she smelled them when she was younger, and she smelled a similar scent around the area. Kella wished for a dragon too. Srills told him again that there aren't any dragons there. Rin searched for fruits. She found some. She hopped to reach the fruit. She was focused on bringing delicious fruits to her master. She didn't want the newbie to outperform her. She happily reached the perfectly ripe fruit, but then the ground shook. She thought it was an earthquake. Then this dum-dum finally saw it, the eyes staring back at her while the creature growled. She was dumbfounded, then turned pale and screamed out loud as she realized, it's a dragon. Back at the camp, Srills asked Wood if what she's saying is that she can naturally feel the energy of the earth. Wood replied, yes, even though she didn't know how to describe it, but she could feel the energy of nature up to a certain distance. Kella wondered if it's similar to looking at a map in a game. Srills replied that it's a good ability to have to look for dungeons. Wood clarified that the distance isn't far, so she doesn't know how much help she can be. Kella asked if it's possible to increase the distance through training. She replied that she did hear there's one way to increase the distance. Kella asked what it could be. She replied that it's through consuming the clairvoyant stone of a dragon that has lived for over a millennium. She would be able to extend the distance she can feel the energy of nature by several hundred times. Kella was surprised. He found it amazing. Srills replied that finding a dragon is no easy task, and even if they were to find one, there's no way they could kill it. Kella asked if dragons are really that strong. Srills replied that dragons are basically apex predators in nature. Plus, dragons dislike demons. The only ones who can tame dragons are very few humans who have very strong mental health. Kella replied that it's quite ironic that the only ones who can tame dragons are the weak humans. Srills replied that she wouldn't try to understand the nature of dragons. Kella wished there was a way for them to get a clairvoyant stone. Srills uttered that there's no way they can find a dragon, so there's no use worrying about it. She told them to just give up. Kella agrees that she's right, but he still wishes they could find one for Wood. Behold, Rin was being chased by a freaking dragon. She asked her master to save her. The three were surprised to see the dragon. Srills told them to quit admiring it and run away. Kella reminded her that she said they weren't going to encounter one, and Kella asked why it was so big. Srills replied that she didn't know, she had never seen a dragon that big before. Rin shouted. They told Rin to stop shouting since she kept on attracting the dragon's attention, and it kept chasing them. Unfortunately, Curdly was in the forest too. She heard the sound. Eventually it became quiet. The dragon looked around while these fuckers hid behind a boulder. The dragon kept looking. Srills saw that it eventually went away. Srills scolded Rin for bringing a dragon when she was supposed to get fruits. She cried and apologized, she didn't expect that there would be a dragon. Wood uttered that it was big. With its size, it just might have lived for over a millennium. Kella got excited. Then Curdly spoke, saying that a dragon that has lived for over a millennium meant it had a clairvoyant stone. Kella turned to her direction and replied that it might actually be an opportunity. Then there was a moment of silence. They all stared blankly at Curdly. Kella was about to ask who the fuck she was. Srills broke the awkward silence, and was on high alert since she recognized that it was the Talcan of Whites, Curdly. Rin was surprised. Kella asked if they had found them already. Srills told everyone to prepare to attack. She stated that Curdly is infamous for being a merciless, cold-blooded mage. Kella thought he was going to live a peaceful life after escaping the Demon King's castle. He questioned why he kept encountering danger after danger, and this time, it was a cold-blooded mage. Curdly told them to calm down, and that there was no need for them to fight. Kella was confused. She told Srills that Srills should be aware that fighting there was meaningless. Srills gritted her teeth. She told them that Curdly could kill them all with a single spell. Kella asked Srills if that was true. Srills didn't want to admit it, but she knew that Curdly wasn't bluffing. She was certain that Curdly was stronger than all of them combined. Rin asked what they should do. Curdly replied that there was no need for them to fight. If they followed her without causing trouble, then they wouldn't have to die, for now. Kella inquired where she wanted them to follow her. She replied that it was where their captain was. She was referring to Killian. Srills asked if Killian had already started to move. Curdly told them that their captain was looking for Kella, so they should follow her. Kella concluded that he would die if he went. Srills replied that either way, he wouldn't be able to survive any longer. Kella had been dreaming of living as if he were in a game. He didn't want to die such a pathetic death. But if he followed Curdly, he would die, so he would rather fight to the death instead of accepting it. Our boy then released an arrow. Curdly easily blocked it with a barrier. Srills commanded everyone to attack. She caused an explosion. Would attack too. She used vines and wrapped them around the barrier, but Curdly blocked it all. Rin felt like she had always been a dead weight to Kella, so she didn't want to die without doing anything like an idiot. She clawed the barrier, as she claimed that she would protect Sir Kella. Srills told her that she shouldn't use a close-range attack. Curdly accepted their choice. Rin groaned as she was blasted away when Curdly created an icicle from the ground. She crashed on the ground. Curdly uttered that it was fine even if she brought only the dead body back. She used her skill called Blizzard. Srills called everyone and told them to stick by her. She created a barrier to protect them from the falling sharp ice blades. Kella asked Rin if she was all right. Fortunately, she made it inside the barrier. Rin apologized to Kella for being no help. Srills told her that it wasn't the time for things like that. Their shield wouldn't last long. Kella asked if Srills had anything that could beat that spell. Srills replied that even if she did, there was too much of a difference between her circles and Curdly's. Curdly kept the attack going. The shield was starting to crack, and if that happened, they would die by that bastard's hands. Kella tried to think of a way. Then he realized that if he could just meet the creature in his consciousness again, he might have a chance. He tried to do it. Srills asked him what he was doing. She told him that if he used his strength there, the shield would break faster. Kella willed the creature to come out. The birds were flying frantically. The dragon sensed something. It growled. Curdly uttered that she was feeling Hell's energy from Kella, and that it seemed to only come out when he exerted himself like that. Now she understood why she couldn't locate him before. However, she claimed it was the end for him. Kella was frustrated that he couldn't go inside his consciousness. He assumed that it was something that takes over when he's about to die. The shield was breaking. Curdly released more sharp ice. The barrier broke. Surprisingly, the dragon shielded them from the rain of ice. Kella was confused, especially when the dragon blocked the attack. Curdly asked why the dragon would do such a thing. She released more ice. The dragon placed its face near Kella. Then Kella felt something. He saw the dragon's memories, and he saw Kella's mother riding the dragon. They were being playful. He concluded that the dragon knew Kella's mother. It was bittersweet, tender memories. The dragon told him to run away. Kella was surprised to hear the dragon's voice. Then the dragon coughed up a marble. He asked what it was. The dragon replied that it was his clairvoyant stone. Kella asked why he was giving it to him. The dragon replied that he had no time to explain. He told Kella to hide his power and run away from there. Kella was confused. The dragon looked behind him. He urged Kella to hurry. The dragon then released a fire beam. Curdly created a barrier to defend herself. She found it strange that a dragon was helping a demon. Kella had no time to think about it. He told everyone to run away. Curdly uttered that it was such a powerful dragon, and it just had to interfere. She stated that it gave her so much to consider. The dragon growled and released another fire beam. It was a powerful attack, but Curdly was able to block it. She asked the dragon if that was his best attack. Then she exerted herself a little bit. She opened her eyes once again and created a gigantic magic circle. Curdly used another overpowered skill called Meteor, and a huge-ass meteor really started coming out from the magic circle. It was about to drop on the dragon. The dragon kept releasing fire beams. Its eyes were determined. It recalled a memory, a sweet memory of Kella's mother, and it was rattled. The meteor dropped. Kella looked back. He was shocked. The meteor squashed the dragon. It lay in its pool of blood. Curdly found it really strange for a dragon to help a demon. She decided to look into its memories before it died. The dragon growled. Its body burned and disintegrated. It called them cruel and selfish humans. Then it told them that there would be a time when they would regret all they had done. Its body perished. Only ash was left. Curdly saw that it ended its own life, and that bought Kella time to hide his presence and run away. She found it troublesome but claimed that it wouldn't change Kella's fate. She released butterflies. She claimed that Kella would be killed by the hands of the white Talkans. They were so confused about the dragon, since at first, it tried to kill them, but then it helped them. Wood corrected them and said that it was trying to help Kella. Thrills agreed, since it suddenly appeared when Kella used his demonic powers. She asked if he knew anything about it. Kella replied that he was able to look into the dragon's memories for a bit. Then he shared that in the past, the dragon knew his mother. Rin replied that dragons don't usually get along with demons. She was curious about their backstory. Kella replied that he didn't know, but he sensed a bittersweet feeling. They remembered that the dragon gave something to Kella. He was holding it, and when Rin saw it, she immediately recognized that it was the dragon's clairvoyant stone. Thrills couldn't believe that not only did the dragon save them, but it also gave them the clairvoyant stone. Thrills uttered that they were just saved by the queen. Kella was curious about the relationship between his mother and the dragon. He thought that there was definitely something in the dragon's eyes. Kella gave with the stone. They were lucky enough to get it. Thrills agreed. Since the Talcan of the White were already on them, they needed to do everything they could to prepare themselves. Wood was hesitant because it was a very rare item. She doubted if it was really okay for her to take it. Kella replied, "Yes, and also, nobody else has a use for it." He encouraged Wood to hurry up and eat it. She agreed. Then she ate it and swallowed it immediately. She sensed something in her body. Her eyes glowed. It was turning red. She saw a memory of the dragon. When the dragon was born, it was a lab rat for the humans' experiments. They performed such cruel experiments without caring about how much pain he was in. It happened every single day. As generations of humans passed by, they continued to rip the dragon's body into pieces for experiments. Whenever he was nearing his death, they would heal him before continuing. Just like that, centuries passed. At that point, his mind had already been broken into pieces, and he had given up on everything. The humans were amused that the dragon wasn't crying anymore. It had stopped crying in their generation, and they thought it was their achievement. Just as the dragon was waiting for its death, Turk Khaldun, who is said to be one of the worst demon kings, started invading the humans. During the battle, the lab collapsed, and the dragon was finally freed. That was how he escaped from that hellish place. As he was able to feel the freedom of soaring through the sky at last, he started looking for his fellow dragons. He told them about the cruelty of humans and suggested that they help the demons in attacking humans. But unexpectedly, no one believed what he said. The dragons had already formed a close relationship with the humans, and they were already helping them fight against demons. Not many dragons realized that the reason humans were able to become close to the dragons was because of the sacrifices made for their experiments, like this dragon. The humans had used the dragons to run experiments to learn how to become closer to their kind and to grasp their magic. However, this truth was not accepted by his kind. They refused to believe the dragon because they had already developed a hostile relationship with the demons. They thought that the dragon would try to harm the humans because of that. This dragon ended up not being able to fit in with anyone, not humans, not demons, not dragons. If that's how it is, the dragon questioned his existence in the world. He thought that if he wouldn't be able to fit in anywhere, and he wouldn't be able to do anything, then what was the purpose of his existence? And so, he isolated himself in an endless darkness, in deep solitude. There, he wasted his life away, waiting for his end. Until an unexpected visitor arrived. A demon child was crying. That was when he met Karist. Karist called the dragon her mommy. The dragon was dumbfounded. Karist ran up to the dragon and hugged her while crying out loud. Karist called the dragon her mommy. The dragon told her that she's not her mother. And that's when the dragon realized it. Perhaps she had just found the reason she was born. Pay respects to our almighty dragon. May you now rest in peace, old mommy dragon. The child that suddenly appeared before the dragon was Karist. Her memories, which the dragon saw through her memory transmission magic, were bleak. The dragon's past was filled with the experiments of the humans done on him, but it was demons who had experimented on Karist. Even among demons there is a hostile group who acts independently of other demons. They are called Tarsika. Through their experiments, they were able to analyze dragon magic and were researching magic to subjugate dragons. As soon as Karist hatched from her egg, she was immediately taken away by Tarsika and experimented on. Karist had the highest magic potential out of all the experiment subjects and could use the most difficult dragon magic, transformation magic, since she was born. That was the main reason Karist was experimented on. So Karist, who was subjected to pain every moment of her life, within that constant despair, developed teleportation magic on her own. She managed to escape the facility, traveled far and alone, until she met the dragon. The dragon thought that Karist was pulled to her because of their shared fates, or it could have been a coincidence. Regardless, because they had both lived such painful lives, it was impossible to act like strangers. Karist uttered, "Master." The dragon told her that she was not her parent, so she should address her as Master. Karist liked that. She said that Master is like a mother. The dragon told her, "It's just Master." After that, the dragon taught Karist many things, like how the world worked, how a dragon should live, and all the dragon magic she had learned. The time that the dragon spent with Karist, unlike the past which seemed to crawl by, moved so quickly. There was a time when the dragon thanked Karist. Karist asked, "For what?" The dragon simply replied that she just wanted to say thank you. Karist now looked like a woman. She insisted that the dragon tell her more. The dragon, watching Karist grow bit by bit and thinking about all the time they spent together, felt a happiness she couldn't express with words. All the pain she experienced due to being born a dragon felt like nothing in the face of the beautiful life they lived together. However, change came when they least expected. One day, the dragon sensed something. Karist asked her, "What's wrong?" The dragon asked Karist who she was. The dragon was alarmed. She asked Karist if she was a human or a demon. Karist was confused. She asked her master if she was testing her. The dragon told her that whether she was a human or a demon, she would kill her either way. Then she released a fire beam toward Karist. Karist was terrified. The dragon wished to spend her life living happily with Karist, but her body, which had its lifespan cut short by all kinds of experiments done to her, could not last as long as other dragons and had started to break down as it reached its limits. Karist asked her why she was doing that. She asked if she really couldn't remember her. Then the dragon eventually called Karist's name. Karist asked her, "You remember me now?" The dragon apologized to Karist and expressed that she didn't mean to attack her. That's when the dragon realized that, before the day came when she couldn't recognize Karist at all, she needed to leave her side. Karist looked for the dragon. She cried as she called for her master. The dragon treasured her disciple, so she went as far as possible. Then she began to prepare for her life's end. She dwelt in nostalgic memories of Karist through cycles of remembering and forgetting. She knew then why most of her precious memories had disappeared. It was because her life would soon be over. Until one day, from far away, the dragon felt a bittersweet energy, and she instinctively began to wander to find that energy. On the last day of her life, finally, that day, she was able to meet that energy. The dragon was drawn to where it was, especially when Kella screamed. She felt it strongly. It was a familiar energy that remained in the dragon's memories. She knew it was Karist's energy. She teared up when she thought about her precious disciple. She remembered the little Karist who called her Mommy. The dragon thought of Karist as her daughter. The dragon was certain that it was Karist's energy. She immediately looked for it. Then she saw Kella with two women in that place. It was not Karist but a different child. Instinctively, she protected the child from an attack, but the dragon could tell that the child was Karist's. And in a brief moment, through that child's memories, the dragon saw her lovely daughter Karist, who had become a mother and held her own child dearly. So, the dragon decided that Karist's precious child should be protected. That's when the dragon released a fire beam. During the fight, she was thankful to Karist for not letting her last days die away without any meaning. And at the end of her long life, she felt happy to see Karist's child once in her final moments. All she could think of was how much she loved her daughter Karist. Rest in peace, Mama Dragon. From all that flashback, Wood couldn't help but cry. She dropped to her knees. Rin asked her if she was okay. Wood expressed that some very long memories were transferred, but like a dream, the more she tries to remember, the more it disappears. Now, she can't remember any of it, but she was certain that the dragon died a happy death. Kella was confused. Then Kella realized that it must have met its end at the hands of that mage on the battlefield. Only the ashes of the Mama Dragon lingered. At the very least, she was able to protect what was important to her, and found another purpose in life. A few moments later, Srills was agitated when she heard that Wood can't remember anything now, and it was impossible to believe when Wood was crying when she uttered that the memories were transferred. Wood simply apologized. Wood explained that the ability didn't manifest all at once, or it could be that it slowly happens over time. Wood uttered that in the worst-case scenario, her ability might be lacking and just not manifest at all. Rin told her that she had a long way to go. Kella replied that they have no choice but to wait for Wood's skill. Srills asked what they should do. She's worried since they don't know when the White Talcon will find them again. Kella told them that they have to go somewhere that can help them protect themselves. He told Srills to show them the world. The blue area on the map is the region of the Talua Kingdom and the humans. The red one is where the Demon Kingdom was and where the demons were living. They are at the boundary of the two. Kella uttered that going south will be good. Rin was surprised that he chose that instead of going deeper into the demon's territory. Rin uttered that his father must have had some kind of intention behind sending him to the humans' territory of Arsal. He was certain that part of that intention was having to meet Srills. But once the Demon Kingdom fell, Kella knew that his father had predicted that humans would engage in a full-scale invasion of the demon's territory. Srills agreed, because as soon as their father fell, it wasn't only the White Talcon, but all of humanity's armies that took the opportunity to exterminate the demon folk. Rin interpreted that as a means to rally the demons behind Kella. Kella told her it was impossible at the moment. Given what happened in the Earth Demon's territory, Kella had been stamped as the cowardly son who ran away. He knew that the other demon folk were thinking the same thing. So, in short, Kella didn't have the power to rally anyone yet. Rin thought Srills could, but Srills replied that there isn't anyone who can prove that she's the descendant of the king. There was nothing she could do about it. But when she was in Talcan, with the things that she did, it was impossible to obtain forgiveness from them. Kella told them that the first thing they needed to do was to create a dungeon they could use as a home base, and that he needed to achieve things so the demons would follow him willingly. He needed to prove his strength. Srills and Rin were happy with that idea. From then on, Kella would accumulate achievements, and the demons would naturally gather around him. Kella would have to prove himself and become the next demon king. They knew that there was no better way than that. Kella agreed and told them that they needed to take that time to establish their position and create a strategy. That's why he suggested creating a home-based dungeon in the south. Srills and Rin happily on board with this plan. Deep inside, Kella was relieved that with such a makeshift plan, the two were following him well. He had finally gathered the comrades he needed. But he was being chased by those absurdly powerful monsters. He knew that it was too dangerous to face the White Talcons for now. Kella needed more information. He thought about the things he experienced there. He noticed that there were many things in common with the game, from the words that described magic to the names of monsters. It was all too familiar to him. He considered the possibility that there was a link between that world and his previous life. He decided to use his power and status as the Demon King's son to get what he wanted, and to use his previous life's knowledge to create a survival strategy. He assumed that there was a path to victory. It made him more determined not to die in vain. A true gamer mindset, folks. Meanwhile, a village was struck with chaos. The houses were in flames. The citizens were screaming. The demons promised to side with the humans if they would be spared, but they were just eaten by a mystical thing. Deed created that monster, and teased the demon that he couldn't hear what they were saying. The demon called them cruel bastards. The demons had surrendered, but they kept attacking. Someone raised an axe and uttered that demons should be quiet and dead. Audria hit the demon with her axe. She pulled out the axe, and blood splattered. Kalka reported to the captain that they were all done. He noticed something. A holographic version of Curdly was reporting to Killian. Killian found out that Kella had been in the boundary territory, not far from the Demon Earth territory. Curdly replied that she was using butterflies to look for him. Killian knew that Kella wouldn't come to the demon territory that had become a sea of flames. Killian told his men to wrap up and go where Curdly was. Audrey asked what would happen to the rest of the demons. She suggested that they should take the chance to get rid of them all. Killian told her to calm down, since it wouldn't be too late to do that once they killed Kella. Killian expressed that he needed to obliterate the bloodline that killed his brother, even if it was an hour earlier. Meanwhile, Kella was in an uncomfortable situation. They were riding unicorns that went as fast as they could. Kella felt that it got cold. Srills explained that they had run south for a week without resting, so it made sense for it to be cold. They weren't followed by Talcon on their way there. Kella thought that it would be nice to just avoid encountering them, at least until he was done with his preparations. The unicorns suddenly stopped. Ren asked why. Wood uttered that the unicorns were strongly refusing to go any further. Wood stated that the unicorns had determined that they couldn't survive in the environment up ahead. Kella replied that it was fine since they had already arrived at their destination. They sent the unicorns back. Wood thanked them and hoped for them to get back safely. The unicorns left. Rin was shivering. She said that with that kind of weather, both humans and demons would have a hard time. Kella replied that it was why it was perfect. He planned to find a good location. The unicorns kept walking under the moonlight. A butterfly flew above them, as if watching them. That was a butterfly of Curdly. She was puzzled that the unicorns, who feared the cold, were moving north from the south, and there were 4 unicorns at that. I think this bitch already knew what was going on. Meanwhile, back to RMC's crew, Wood informed them that the cave on the island was the safest position. Kella asked if she could find out who was on that island or if there were any monsters. Wood apologized and told him that her mind's eye only responded to nature, so it couldn't detect life. Srills saw the nearby boats were weathered. She speculated that it must have been a while since people had gone there. Kella asked if the boats were usable. She replied that they looked fine. It was about 200 meters from the coast to the island. It wasn't that far, but it was sufficiently deep, and the waves were strong. It was also easy for them to detect if anyone invaded the island. They saw that the entrance was wider than they thought. Kella asked if Srills could cast illusion magic on the entrance. That was easy for Srills. A holographic bar appeared at the entrance, and a few seconds later, it was done. Kella saw that the place had been used a long time ago. He suggested they look around first. Eventually, they reached a place where the paths split into 2. Kella asked Wood to tell him the specifics. She reported that there were 2 paths on each side that were narrow for a while and then opened into a room. Then, after narrowing, they merged into a bigger room at the end. She stated that after that, there was a room that was even deeper, which had 1 entrance and was connected to a small exit. Kella told them that they would split into 2 and check out both paths, then meet in the middle. Srills placed an arm around Kella and uttered that she and Kella would go together. Rin was caught off guard. Rin grabbed Kella's arm and argued that she was going with him. Srills asked her what was up with her. Rin replied that they didn't know what would happen in the tunnel, so she suggested that the strongest 2 should split up. Srills couldn't argue with that. She decided to go with Wood. Rin had this relieved look on her face as she got to go with her master. Kella told them to make sure to check out anything that was off and meet in the middle. They acknowledged Kella's order. Wood noticed that the stones on the ceiling were providing light. Srills explained that those were light stones. Ice and light magic had been combined to create them. Since they were still lit, Srills assumed that they must have been made by quite a skilled mage. Wood replied, I see. Then Srills dropped a revelation and told her that she still didn't trust her. Wood asked her what she meant. Srills made it clear that she was traveling with her because Kella picked her, but she stated that she wasn't the type to make new comrades easily. Wood was quiet. Srills gauged her expression. Wood replied not to worry about calling her a comrade and that she should just think of her as a slave. Srills was quiet, then ended the conversation by simply saying, Yeah, I don't like you. Wood didn't respond. At the same time, Kella expressed that it would be nice if they could also make light stones. Rin agreed and volunteered to research light stones for them. There was a slightly huge rock, and Rin stopped Kella in his tracks and told him to be careful not to trip. Rin looked so proud of herself. Kella wondered why she was so motivated. Then a blob came rolling. Kella was excited to see a slime. He had only seen them in video games, so he wanted to touch one at least once in his life. But Rin punched it. Kella turned pale. Rin was annoyed that a mere slime dared to block Kella's path. She overreacted and obliterated it. Kella turned pale, then Rin looked back at Kella. She looked expectant. Kella wondered if she was looking for a compliment. He was bummed about the slime, but still, he complimented her. Rin thanked him and told him that he had nothing to worry about. Rin was very determined to protect Kella. Kella told her to calm down. They heard a noise. Rin was surprised. A large golem stood before them. Kella told Rin to get behind him, but Rin refused to. She was determined to take care of anything that got in Kella's way. Srills was surprised by what she saw. It turned out it was just a crystal necklace. She looked happy because, despite it being old, it looked super expensive. She uttered that they might have stumbled upon a treasure-filled dungeon. She wore it and asked if it looked good on her. Wood nonchalantly replied, "Yeah, sure." Srills pouted. She thought that if it was Rin, he would have flattered her already, and they would be off finding more treasures. She didn't like being with Wood. Wood observed her. Meanwhile, Rin tried to evade the golem's attack. She was focused on destroying it. The golem lifted another hand and punched Rin. She crashed against the wall and coughed up blood. Kella told her that it's impossible to defeat it without weapons and that their attacks aren't working at all. Rin insisted that she could do it. Rin attacked again, and she was punched again. Kella asked her why she was pushing herself too hard. The golem stood before Rin. It was about to finish the job. Rin replied that, at that rate, she wouldn't be able to serve him as his servant. Kella was caught off guard. Rin looked determined. Apparently, when Rin entered the Demon King's castle as an attendant, Demon King Hell asked, "You want to be friends with an attendant?" Kella was crying when he replied that he wanted to be friends with Rin. Demon King Hell asked if he was joking with him. He stated that an attendant is just an attendant. He told Kella to proceed with the contract immediately. Kella kept crying. He apologized to Rin as he started the contract. He officially took her as his attendant. Rin thanked him. When Kella told her that he wanted to treat her not just as an attendant but as a friend, it made her happy. To her, it felt like she was finally being acknowledged as a person. That day, watching Kella cry himself to sleep, Rin swore an oath that she would support him in becoming the greatest of all demons. She was determined to work really hard, but as time went on, Kella turned out to be a crybaby and a coward and was always on the brink of death because of his siblings. There was a time when Kella yelled loudly. He stated that he almost died again. In Rin's head, if Kella dies, she'll die too. Rin acted cold and strict to toughen Kella, but Kella never changed. Because of that, Rin was ignored and discriminated against by other attendants. Some tried to hurt her. They gave her scraps for her meals. She ate food that burned her insides every day and even got splashed with molten lava. Even when she slept, she had to do it alone in the stables. Even then, the other attendants would come to torment her, so Rin was never safe. Some demon twins came to see her when they heard that Rin seduced Lord Tarm with her pretty body. They took out a dagger while telling Rin that they would make her even prettier. Rin begged them not to do it. It was around then that she started to hate Kella. She pointed a dagger at him. Since when he dies, she'll die too, she thought that it would be better if they just died together. Kella groaned out loud. Rin tried to die with him, but our boy had insane recovery power. Rin was in despair since she couldn't die even when she wanted to. She didn't know what to do. Kella cried and apologized to Rin, and this is the very same reason she hated him so badly. Eventually, Rin gave up on everything and lived like a corpse. But suddenly, Kella changed overnight, as if Kella had become a completely different person. Rin stated that the current Kella seems like the true heir to the great demon king. She attacked the golem again. She admitted that she had just been a burden to him. She moved quickly, then stated that if she's just going to keep getting in his way, the golem's head cracked. It was cut off. Rin uttered that if she keeps being a burden, then it would be better not to stay by his side. The golem's head fell on the ground. Rin descended safely too. She continued to speak, and with tears flowing, she expressed that she doesn't want to be abandoned by Kella. Kella looked sympathetic, but their moment was cut off as the golem's body moved even without the head. Rin glanced at it. She knew she would get hit. But of course, our boy wouldn't allow this to happen. He covered his fist with blue flame and met the golem's fist with it. The golem's body fell. He asked Rin if she's an idiot. He told her that she risked her life to protect him every time he was in danger, so there's no reason for him to abandon an attendant like her. Rin was touched. RMC's raised was super effective. Kella told her that if she were to run away again someday, he won't let her go, so she shouldn't regret it. Rin cried. She hugged Kella and bawled her eyes out. Kella had the memories of old Kella that he shared with Rin. Because of that, he knew that Rin's feelings were genuine. So, for the future's sake, he needs to make Rin the strongest attendant. Meanwhile, back to these bitches, Srills and Wood arrived at the first room. It was wider than they thought. Srills saw a diamond bracelet. She got excited to take it and show it to Rin. Wood called her name. She reacted with hostility and responded that she's not going to give it to Wood, and she knew that Wood wasn't interested. Wood asked her if she really didn't know or if she's just pretending that she doesn't know. Srills was confused. Then the bracelet connected like a cuff. She panicked, then sensed a presence behind her. It was a treasure spider. She didn't realize that something like that was hiding in there. Wood asked if that monster was a treasure spider. Srills admitted that she felt something weird about the bracelet, but she realized that it was a monster's bait. Srills blamed Wood, claiming that Wood knew yet didn't stop her. Wood replied that she thought if it was Srills, she would obviously know, so she was just watching. Wood prepared for combat. A large trunk appeared and blocked the monster. Wood expressed that she thought Srills had some other plans. Srills knew that a monster like that is normally nothing to her, but she had let her guard down. She couldn't get her staff in that state. She could only trust Wood. She told Wood that she was only pretending to be caught. She claimed that it was to test Wood's strength. Srills yelled that she got caught by a bracelet that was connected to a web. She asked Wood what she should do. Wood replied that she would free her from that bracelet. She tried to cut it with a knife, but treasure spiders put a barrier around anything connected to their web. It can't be broken physically. Wood had another idea. The treasure spider spat acid on the trunk. Wood grabbed Srills to evade the attack. Srills informed Wood that they would melt if it touched them. Wood asked her what's next. She expressed that since they were in a cave, there weren't any roots she could use. Srills expressed that if only she could use magic, she could kill a monster like that in one hit. She told Wood to do something about that. The treasure spider kept spitting acid. Wood pushed Srills so she wouldn't get hit. Then the spider released a web. It glued Srills to the wall. Srills cursed at the monster for targeting her, since she was the one trapped by the barrier. It was about to stab Srills. Srills panicked since she might meet her end with just a monster like that. The monster attacked, but then, Wood shielded Srills with her body. She brought up what Srills said earlier, that she could defeat it in one hit if she could use magic. Wood promised that she would do everything she could. She removed the tusk that stabbed her and used it to destroy the barrier. Srills was free. The monster made a loud noise. It stabbed Wood with its legs. Srills got worried for Wood. Wood told her that it's her turn. Wood's eyes reflected trust in Srills. Srills was slightly taken aback. She then took out her staff. She was furious. Just looking at this scene made it clear that this spider was fucked. How dare a mere bug play with me? She used purple torch and burnt the shit out of this gigantic insect. The monster was engulfed in purple flame. Srills coughed blood as the chain on her neck got destroyed. Meanwhile, Wood fell on her knees. Srills asked her how she undid the barrier on the bracelet. Wood explained that if it was the spider's body, she thought it wouldn't be affected by the barrier. Srills uttered that if Wood was wrong, she would have died. Wood, with an unwavering gaze, replied that she didn't care if she lived or died, since Srills told her to do everything she could. Srills was silent. She recalled her past. When she was stabbed, she grabbed the sword, smiled at her opponent, and told her opponent that she got him. Her opponent couldn't believe that she did that on purpose. She replied, "Yes," and beheaded the opponent. The instructor saw that she gave up her stomach just to take the guy's head. He told her that she would have died if the opponent had stabbed her heart. She replied that she didn't care if she lived or died, since the instructor told her to kill the opponent no matter what. The instructor commented that she's so stubborn. With that, Srills passed the test back then. To achieve her goals, she struggled any way she could. In her head, she was thinking about how Wood always has an expression of indifference on her face, but she thinks that Wood is just the same way Srills was back then. She saw how the child put her life on the line to protect her. She told Wood, "You pass." Wood was confused. Srills told her that she accepts her as her comrade, so, "Don't you dare die easily, and that's an order." That surprised Wood. She replied that she will keep that in mind. Wood finally gaining Srill's trust is a huge win for our MC. Imagine having 3 bitches by your side as your army and then finding out that 2 of them have some conflict. At the meetup point in front of a statue, Rin asked Srills if she's okay. Srills asked her why she looked like that. Kella saw Wood. He got worried and curious as to how she got so injured. Wood replied that she's fine since Srills had cast a healing spell on her already. Srills scolded Kella for letting Rin get hurt like that when he was right there. Rin explained to Srills that it happened because she insisted on fighting alone. Kella asked Srills what she did to Wood for her to be that badly hurt. Srills asked Kella if they fought a treasure spider too. Our boy asked what it was. He shared that they fought a golem. Srills thought about it, and having a treasure spider and a golem in the same dungeon, it's not a common combination to be in the same place. Rin suggested that there might be some hidden secret. Firstly, since Rin is injured, Srills cast a healing spell for now. Then she encouraged the injured to get some rest. Kella looked around and saw that the internal architecture resembled the Demon King's castle in some areas. They could see traces of human architectural techniques too. What concerned Srills the most was the statue, and the box beneath it looked suspicious. Rin thought it was a treasure chest. Srill's eyes sparkled too, and she was happy that Rin shared the same thought. She suggested opening it right away. The eyes of the statue glowed. Kella yelled at them to wait and equipped his bow. He told them to get down and fired an arrow towards it. The eyes of the statue released laser beams. Srills realized that the chest was a trap. Rin expressed that she didn't expect that. Kella told them that it clearly looked like a trap. The statue released more attacks. Srills yelled at them to dodge. Rin and Wood were ready to help too. Kella told them that they shouldn't assist until they have fully recovered, otherwise, they would only get in the way. Rin wanted to argue, but Wood replied that she would follow the orders. Rin got mad at Wood. Wood reasoned that she was ordered by Srills not to die so easily, so she will focus on recovery, as Kella instructed. Rin couldn't argue with that. She wished for Kella to hold out a little longer until they recovered. Kella told Srills that he would draw the statue's attention while she goes for its main body. The statue had a barrier around it. Srills used fireballs. They hit the barrier. Srills was surprised to find that it was using barrier magic along with attack magic. Kella questioned how it's even possible that it's casting multiple spells. Srills explained that there are 2 possibilities: either a high-level mage preloaded those spells onto the statue, or there's something inside the statue that is actively casting spells. Learning that, Kella asked if Wood could scan the statue's inner structure. Wood replied that the inside of the statue is hollow. Kella replied that there's a high chance that someone is likely hiding inside. He yelled that they needed to break that barrier to destroy the statue. He ordered them to try whatever they could. Kella uttered that even with their magic, it won't break through. He wondered what he could do. Some mean-looking golems arrived. These guys just emerged from the walls. Kella was surprised to see that the golems are stronger than before. Another creature popped out its head after a few seconds. It was another treasure spider, and the size of it was different from the earlier one. It was gigantic. It made Srills think that the ones they saw earlier were just babies. She used purple torch. The treasure spider shrieked. Srills saw that it didn't work on the mother treasure spider. The treasure spider attacked. Srills was thinking that had they not been in an enclosed space, she could have wiped them all out with a wide area spell. She asked Kella for any good ideas. Meanwhile, Kella was engaged in a fight with the golem. He knew that if he unleashed Hell's mana, he could finish them off easily. But if he did, the tokens of white would detect his location again. He wondered what he should do. Then he realized something. He looked at the statue again, and thought that something was strange. He noticed that ever since the monsters appeared, the statue's magic stopped. Reflecting on it, he speculated that the statue's magic is being used to control the monsters. He knew that it was right after Srills said that the statue needed to be destroyed that the monsters began appearing. He thought that the statue sensed danger from Srills' words and summoned the monsters. Kella informed everyone that destroying the statue is their top priority. He requested Srills to buy them some time. Srills asked what he's planning. She used firewall. Kella thought that if the statue stopped casting magic to control the monsters, he could jump and attack to see if the barrier's down too. He hit the statue. Our boy was able to put a hole in it but then fell. Srills was surprised to see that Kella broke through the statue and went inside of it. With their target gone, the golems shifted their attention. Srills was confused as to why they were charging at her. At the same time, the treasure spider moved. Rin saw that it was heading toward the statue instead. Wood saw that it's the only thing that can enter because of its size. Rin groaned because now the golems were charging at them too. Wood replied that if it comes to that, they will have no choice but to fight together. Shrills stepped forward. She rejected their idea of fighting because they haven't healed. She created a barrier that blocked the golem's attack. Rin got worried for Shrills. Shrills told them that they have no other choice but to trust Kella. There was some blue item at the ceiling, and Kella noticed it. He assumed that it must be the one controlling the statue. He aimed his arrow towards it. Unfortunately, the treasure spider arrived and trapped Kella in a spider web. Kella cursed out loud. The spider just had to appear at that moment. Shrills yelled that they can't hold out much longer. She told him to hurry up and finish it. Kella replied that he wants to, but there's nothing he could do, he's just too weak. The spider moved. It had a pointy limb aimed at Kella. Kella knew it's a bad situation. He wondered if he had no choice but to use Hell's power. Suddenly, his consciousness faded, and he was brought to a dark realm where this shadow figure called him an idiot. It asked what he's doing. Kella panicked since it was like he's falling. He remembered it was the abyss from before. The shadow figure lectured him as to why he's getting beaten up by pathetic monsters like that. Kella asked what it was talking about. Kella got annoyed. Why was it only showing up now when he nearly died before too? The shadow figure called him a shameless bastard and told him to hurry up and use vassal. Kella had no idea what it was. The shadow figure told him that no matter how weak he is, he can control monsters of that level with the vassal ability. Our boy asked if it was the servant contract he made with Rin when they were kids. The shadow figure loomed over him and yelled, "Of course not, you dumbass!" Kella got spooked. The shadow figure told him that he possesses the blood of the great demon king passed down through generations. It explained that vassal is an ability that every great demon king has possessed. As long as he has a strong enough desire, it will manifest. This scene felt like some Avatar kind of shit. Anyway, Kella was surprised to hear that. The shadow figure told him that he should have a powerful will to make the enemy his and that he can unleash the greed engraved in his blood. With that, any being weaker than him will become his vassal. Kella focused on his desire. The shadow figure urged him to claim every monster within the reach of his power in the land and make them his. That last push was what Kella needed. He had unlocked vassal. His eyes turned to a bright blue color. Once Kella got back to his body, the spider was surprised. Kella thought about the powerful desire to make them his. He stared at the spider. He stated, "I, Kella Kaldun, descendant of the great demon king, shall take command of you." And if you guys noticed, the previously blue gem on the spider had finally turned into purple. Kella claimed the spider as his own. The spider had no reaction until it approached Kella with its limb. Kella felt a sensation. He saw a chart with a thumbnail of the spider. He thought it was the visualization of his vassal slots. He thought of how it looked like the item slots in a game. The spider then kneeled before him. Kella instinctively knew now that the treasure spider had become his. It was a freaking success. The golems attacked the barrier. Shrills yelled at Kella to do something. The barrier had formed cracks, and it wouldn't last long. Kella replied to her to hold on a bit, and then our boy revealed himself as he rode the spider. But he knew that one spider wasn't enough. He needed to control the demons outside too. He jumped as he targeted the core inside the statue. He planned to make it his. He used vassal on the slime-looking core and ordered it to come to him. After that, the gigantic golems, who were about to land the finishing blow on Shrill's barrier, suddenly stopped. Shrills and Rin were surprised by this. Wood pointed at something. It was Kella. He was riding the spider while holding the slime in his hand. He happily caught the slime. Finally. He didn't expect a slime to be the owner of a dungeon. He found it arrogant. Shrills replied that it must be a slime that was enhanced with superior magic. Kella was pleased that he finally got to touch a slime. He rubbed it on his face and felt how smooth it was. Shrills expressed that she had never heard about vassal, and it's probably because she doesn't share blood with the Demon King. Rin shared that she's always been amazed at how the Demon King was able to rule all those demonic monsters. Now she knows the ability is called vassal. Kella stated that since he made the owner of the dungeon his, it will be easy to make it his very own dungeon. Since the slime had rocks attached to its body, he called it Stone. Rin couldn't believe he even named it. Shrills expressed that she's jealous because she wanted to use vassal too. She demanded Kella let her use it. Kella asked her if she thinks just saying it works. Wood had a thought. Given that there was a magician who made a superior slime, it made her wonder where the people in there went. Seeing how worn down the place was, Rin suggested that those people must have moved somewhere else a long time ago. Srills suggested that they must have all died. Kella replied that regardless, the slime ended up being quite lonely. He was relieved that he could make the owner of the dungeon his. Our MC thought about the existence he met in the abyss who told him about his ability. If he didn't meet it, he would have died. He wondered what the conditions were for meeting it. He seriously thought, but he came up with nothing, so he put the thought aside. He informed everyone that they will start the dungeon construction. Making a map is their first priority. After making Stone his vassal, he was able to rule over the demonic monster Stone had command over as well. To prepare for getting detected by the Talkins, they set up scouts around the perimeter. The baby spiders were placed at the entrance, half of the golems at each split of the fork, and the last golems and the mother spider in the middle hall. It was then time to reorganize using the various weapons from the chests they found at the stone statue. Rin asked if she would become stronger with the daggers she was holding. Srills told her that those daggers have the ability to make her demonic power stronger and more condensed. Rin had been fighting with just the demonic power that appears from her hands, and if she could learn how to use the daggers well, her attacks could become much sharper. Hearing that, Rin got motivated to learn them. It was so she could protect Kella from the white Talkins. They asked Wood if she was fine with what she had. She was holding a worn-out wooden shield. Wood replied that, for some amazing reason, the shield had retained its moisture and still had the energy of nature, so she chose that shield. Kella let her do what she wanted. In his mind, Kella thought of how elves sense things differently. Meanwhile, Srills took the grimoire. Even if it didn't seem like there was any special magic, Kella chose among the swords. Srills suggested the one on the farthest left. She told him that it has the strongest demonic power. Kella looked at it, then he had his eyes fixed on the one at the center. Then he chose that. Srills commented that it's the one that looks so weak. Kella replied that it's what he's drawn to. It was similar to the sword he used in the game. He was happy because it felt like he had found his old sword. After taking what they could use, they used the map he made to start making the dungeon. Seeing how the land was quite barren, the materials available weren't great. Using dirt, stone, and water, they created construction materials. They used Wood's knowledge to design the architecture using those natural materials, and for the combination of materials and construction, they used Srills' magic. It was a dungeon created with the combined knowledge of the earth demons and Arsal. Kella thought of it as a crude dungeon made under poor conditions, but it was a dungeon made directly from his map. It was his first, and could possibly be his last, dungeon. Meanwhile, the falcons outside the dungeon guarded the area. Kella then asked Stone if he liked his new home. Kella smiled since it looked like Stone did. Kella thought that as long as they avoided the Talkins, living like that wouldn't be too bad. But of course, he needed to freaking jinx it. Outside, something sparkled near the dungeon. It was the butterfly, and it flew towards the dungeon. The falcons weren't even alarmed by it. While the mages in Arsal worked tirelessly to repair the damage inflicted upon the city's buildings by Kella and Srills, an elder approached Lord Hayden and said, "For you to come all this way, on behalf of Arsal, I offer you my deepest gratitude." Lord Hayden, gazing out from the highest window in Arsal's main building, coldly replied, "Is this really the time for formal pleasantries? To think Arsal, a nation directly under Talua's protection, would fall into such a miserable state." The elder lowered his head and explained, "On that day, everyone was caught up in the festival, so—" Before he could finish, Hayden spun toward him in anger and barked, "Do not make excuses! Arsal, a historic magical nation. Do you truly expect me to believe you were defeated by just 2 people? A traitor like Srills and a coward like Kella?" The elder bowed his head in shame and whispered, "I have no words." Without further patience, Hayden ordered, "Summon the strongest mages of the 5 elements immediately. I will provide Talua's enhancement stones, those bestowed by the king himself, and I will personally lead the enhanced mages." The elder hesitated. "I've heard that the white Talcan has already begun moving. Why must we send out our mages too? Even the white Talcan has failed to locate them." Lord Hayden's eyes narrowed. "If Arsal's mages can find and eliminate them first, wouldn't that be a perfect chance to restore Arsal's fallen prestige?" "But," the elder hesitated, "if we use Talua's enhancement stones, we may have to endure severe side effects." Hearing this, Lord Hayden clenched his teeth in frustration. "You're concerned about side effects at a time like this? Without warning, he activated a spell, a glowing hand of magic shooting out and grabbing the elder by the neck, lifting him into the air. Listen carefully, elder. You seem to have forgotten something. I am the one who built Arsal to where it is today, not you. Consider yourself fortunate that I haven't killed you with my own hands. Choking and trembling in pain, the elder gasped. I apologize. Hayden growled. I need to justify continued support from the king. Stop arguing and summon the 5 elemental mages at once. Some time later, Lord Hayden stepped out of Arsal's main hall, his mind racing. If the White Talton finds Kella first, there's no doubt Kella will die by Killian's hands. At the very least, our mages must reach him before they do. Just then, a mage wearing a black cloak appeared before him and spoke. Lord Hayden, Magic Commander of Talua. Are you seeking Kella? Hayden's eyes sharpened. Who are you? The mage calmly replied. Kella. I am the one who will find him for you. Hayden was taken aback by the confidence in his voice. The scene shifted to Kella, sitting awkwardly at a grand dinner table. He frowned and asked, Is this really okay? Isn't this chair a bit too extravagant? Anyone seeing this would think I'm some great demon king. Rin, sitting nearby on a simple wooden chair, chuckled. You're going to become a great demon king eventually. A throne like this suits you. Srills sighed. But it's a problem that all we have is fish. We need to feed our dear Kella a balanced diet. Rin quickly stood up. That's right. Lord Kella is at an age where he needs to eat properly. I'll try hunting a bit farther out. Kella frowned. What if you get discovered by the White Talcan? It's too dangerous. You can't. Rin smirked. Lord Kella, aren't you always the one worrying about us? Kella grumbled to himself. It's true though. I'm getting sick of fish. I want meat. Meat. At that moment, Wood stood up. Then I'll try to find some carnivorous animals nearby. Srills asked. What? I thought there weren't any around here. Though. I came up with an idea while I was training. Kella turned to her, curious. What kind of idea? Soon after, Wood infused his mana into his wooden shield. 3 thick roots sprouted from it and burrowed into the ground. This shield still retains its life force. It can assimilate with my abilities. Kella's eyes lit up. So you're going to use the shield's roots to search for underground animals? Rin smiled. It's like ground fishing. Wood nodded. The roots need to extend slowly and quietly, or the hunt will fail. They waited for hours. 2 passed, then 4, then 6. Rin eventually lost her patience. It's been 6 hours. Newbie, are you sleeping? Are you even trying to catch anything? At that moment, Wood's roots snagged something underground. He quickly pulled it up. It was a large mole. Srills cheered. Whoa! You caught it! That's incredible. Good job, Wood. Wood blushed. Thank you. Lady Srills complimented me. Kella asked cautiously. But is this really edible? Seeing the mole, Rin grew anxious. At this rate, the newbie's going to outshine me again. She quickly grabbed the mole. Don't worry, Lord Kella. I'll cook it deliciously for you. Please rest. But as Rin tried to cut the mole with her aura claws, she realized something terrifying. It wouldn't cut. What do I do? I already bragged so much. Its skin is unbelievably tough. Is it because it's an underground creature? Should I just ask Lord Kella for help? No, if I do that, he might say something like, Can Rin not even cut a creature like this? How disappointing. Flustered, she shouted. No! Not that! Desperate, she pulled out a dagger she had received earlier. He said this dagger could focus mana into a single point. I just need to pour my mana into it. But when she did, she gasped. What's happening? My mana is spreading instead of focusing. The dagger is pulling my mana in. Damn it, it won't let go of my hand. If this continues, the dagger will drain all my mana. Meanwhile, Srills, who had been studying a grimoire, pondered, so this grimoire was made inside a dungeon. It contains basic spells based on the environment, but why are there words I've never seen before? And I can't even grasp the skill level of the one who created it. As she flipped to the next page, she was suddenly startled. At that moment, the 3 of them heard Rin's panic screams. Kella turned to Srills. What was that? Did something happen to Rin? Wood quickly stood up. I'll go check. But Srills waved him off. No, let her handle it. Wood protested. But that scream just now, she's just cooking. Leave her be. Srills said firmly. Understood, Wood replied reluctantly. Meanwhile, Rin continued struggling to control the dagger. Come on, think. I've been watching all of Lord Kella's lessons from behind. He used to cry or give up when things got hard. I memorized every lesson so I could teach him one day. There must be something in those memories. She recalled a past lecture. A magic weapon is far more powerful than a regular weapon, but it's useless if the wielder can't control it. You must grasp its essence to wield it properly. She remembered another. If you don't want your magic power to control you, you must learn to shape it into the form you desire. With enough concentration, you can condense your magic to achieve precise forms. That's it. I need to shape my magic to match the dagger's essence. If I can stabilize the mana and synchronize with the dagger, I can control it. Muttering, Please, listen to me. I am your master. If I can't even handle you, how will I ever protect Lord Kella from the White Talcan? She focused and swung the dagger at the mole. It pierced clean through. I did it. I pierced its skin, she gasped. When she pulled the dagger out, she realized her mana was now flowing smoothly around it. Laughing in relief, she whispered, So this is what it feels like, to truly own a magic sword. Some time later Kella, growing impatient, got up. This is taking too long. I should check on her. Srills scolded. I told you to leave her be. Just then, Rin emerged holding a freshly prepared dish. It's ready! Srills blinked in surprise. What? You already finished cooking? Kella asked. We heard you scream earlier. What happened? Flustered, Rin quickly denied it. What? Nothing happened at all. Wood, standing beside her, remarked. You're sweating an awful lot. Srills narrowed her eyes. Rin, you were much faster than I expected. Could it be you're naturally talented in sword chi? What do you mean? Rin asked, confused. Srills showed her a page in the grimoire. This mole, according to this, the ground moles in this dungeon die instantly above ground due to low vitality, but underground, their skin is so tough they're nearly invincible. Only swordsmen capable of wielding powerful sword chi can cut through their hide. Rin's eyes widened. No wonder it felt like steel. Wood chimed in. It's amazing you were able to prepare that mole. Rin scratched her head, laughing nervously. Well, it wasn't a big deal. Kella patted her shoulder. You did well. I'll enjoy the meal. Blushing, Rin replied. Yes, Lord Kella. I was acknowledged. From now on, I'll keep getting stronger by his side. Srills watched them thoughtfully. Rin is growing on her own. The real problem isn't Rin or Wood. It's me. Even when facing the Dark Tribe or fighting in this dungeon, I've been useless. Saying I couldn't use large spells because of the terrain was just an excuse. I need to learn magic that can unleash great power in any situation. Later, Srills trained alone in an empty dungeon chamber, reflecting, Father entrusted Kella to me. But instead, I've been the one relying on him. If Curdley attacked now, I wouldn't stand a chance. I'm only at the beginning of the 4th circle. Curdley must have surpassed the 6th by now. I can't keep wasting time. I need to grow stronger, even if I must use extreme methods. Determined, she took out the black light stone of the Dark Tribe, knowing it temporarily enhances physical power at the cost of lifespan. For Father's command and for Kella's protection, I can offer something like my own lifespan without hesitation. As soon as she swallowed the stone, her grimoire began to glow, its pages flipping rapidly on their own. What? The grimoire is moving on its own. Is it reacting to my magic power? Glowing words rose from the pages and surrounded her. Those are the words I couldn't decipher. Suddenly, the words struck her stomach, sending waves of searing pain through her body. When she opened her eyes, she found herself in an unfamiliar realm. Where am I? A high-ranking demon woman appeared behind her. Oh, successor of the great demon king's demonic power! At last, you've reached me within the cycle of reincarnation? Srills trembled. Could it be the grimoire activated because my father's demonic power resides within me? She asked. Who are you? Were you one of the great demon king Hellcalden's followers? The demon calmly replied. No. I serve someone else, this world's only god, Lord Turk Caldan. Srills gasped. The former great demon king? You mean Lord Turk Caldan? That is correct, the demon affirmed. This can't be. How can such a fate exist? Fate is inevitable, the demon said. But sometimes it moves as if it has a will of its own. Perhaps our meeting was destined by a pulsating world line. Srills asked. Was it Lord Turk Khaldun who created this dungeon? Yes. We traveled to countless places, leaving traces behind so that those who follow us may find true enlightenment. True enlightenment. Our arrival here wasn't a coincidence. Then, please join us. The great demon King Hell was killed by humans. That is impossible. I am not a physical being, only a spell left behind as a remnant of demonic power, activated under specific conditions. I can only assist the one who awakened me. So she isn't alive after all. Then please teach me how to surpass the fourth circle. I need strength to protect Kella, Lord Turk's descendant. I admire your straightforwardness. However, surpassing a circle is a personal trial. It depends on your own ability. In this abyss, you will feel death-like agony as if your very soul is being ground to dust. Only those who can endure it can break through. I can endure it. Please give me this chance. The pain will feel as though 14 years have passed in the real world. If you fail, you will die. Srills remembered her father's final command. I was born for one purpose. If I cannot protect Kella now, my life has no meaning. I will gladly accept that pain. Good. I can feel your resolve. I will tear apart everything you've learned and reconstruct it from the ground up using my demonic power. Magic circles formed around Srills as unbearable pain flooded her entire being. This pain and terror. I've never felt anything like it. But I must endure, for my goal. Let's see how long you can last. Meanwhile, Kella hurried through the dungeon, carrying a plate of food. Something about Srill's expression bothered me. She said she was just inspecting the dungeon, but she's been gone all day. Something's wrong. He soon found Srills, bleeding and trapped inside a magical barrier. In shock, Kella dropped the plate and rushed toward her. How did this happen? He unsheathed his sword and struck the barrier repeatedly. I have to break this spell. Snap out of it, Srills. Elsewhere, Killian's squad of the White Talcon continued their search. Killian asked curtly, You're certain the unicorns came this way? Yes. We confirmed through their memories that Kella's group passed through here. Kalka remarked. This place is a cluster of countless islands. According to the butterfly's confirmation, there are 427 islands in total. Curdly added. What? That's way too many. When will we ever find them all? Killian drew his sword. No. The fact that they left the vast mainland is actually good news. In the end, we just need to search these islands. He coated his sword in aura and obliterated a nearby island with a single strike. His subordinates watched the explosion in awe. Let's split up and search, Killian ordered. We'll see where Kella is hiding. Meanwhile, Kella continued to hammer away at the barrier in desperation. What is this thing made of? It won't budge. Srills is losing too much blood. I don't know who cast this, but I have to save her. I can't lose her here. At that moment, the ground began to tremble. It's just islands here. Why does it feel like an earthquake? At that moment, the scout bird monsters stationed outside the dungeon suddenly activated. With a burst of movement, they flew swiftly toward a nearby island, one that had already been ravaged and destroyed. Upon reaching the source of the disturbance, the birds captured a visual of the scene. It was Killian, the one responsible for the destruction. Instantly, they transmitted the footage back to the communication stone. Inside the dungeon, the stone glowed and flared to life, triggering a high-priority alert. Kella glanced at it, startled. What's going on? Why is it sending an emergency signal? He thought in alarm. Suddenly, the stone began to emit rapid speech in its unique magical language. Kella narrowed his eyes and thought. What? Did it just say, people in white clothing? Then he caught a glimpse, through the magic stone's vision, of Srills, wounded and surrounded by a magical barrier. Blood seeped from her injuries. Kella's heart sank. Damn it! If the ones in white have come this far, then it has to be the White Talcon. Of all the times. Srills, no, maybe she's already been taken down by Curdly. Realizing the gravity of the situation, Kella immediately turned and began sprinting toward his other companions, panic tightening in his chest. This can't go on. If they've already discovered us, it's over. As he approached Rin and Wood, he shouted. Get ready! Hide in the bunker, now! Both looked up in confusion. Hide? For what? Rin asked. What's going on? Wood added. Kella didn't slow down. The White Talcon are near the dungeon. We don't know when they'll come storming in, so we need to move fast. Rin's eyes widened. What? They're already nearby? Then, that earthquake earlier, was it from them? I'll go get Commander Srills. Wood offered immediately. But Kella shook his head firmly. No. I think Srills has already been trapped by Curdly's magic. Without wasting another second, the group rushed toward a concealed location. Rin, still in disbelief, echoed, Commander Srills. Together, they heaved aside a massive coffin-shaped box, revealing a hidden entrance embedded into the ground. That's why we have to evacuate now, Kella said grimly. Thank the gods we built this secret bunker. They won't find us easily down there. Let's go. Without hesitation, all three of them leapt into the bunker. As soon as they landed, Kella rose to his feet and summoned his magic, dragging the heavy coffin box back over the entrance to seal them in. I'm sorry, Srills, he muttered. There's nothing I can do for you right now. Meanwhile, outside, having laid waste to the nearby island, Killian arrived at the entrance to the dungeon. The moment he stepped closer, he wrinkled his nose in disgust. This scent, foul, reeking of demonic magic. The scout birds immediately sent this new visual to the communication stone, and once again it lit up, warning Kella. The stone's saying he's landed in front of the dungeon entrance. Kella informed his companions. Who? Rain asked, tense. It says, a white-haired man wielding a sword. Rain's expression turned pale. White hair. That has to be Killian. Of all people, the blacksmith of Talcan. Kella clenched his fists. If he sees through the illusion magic hiding the entrance, we're finished. At that moment, Killian slowly approached the dungeon's front. He paused, sensing something off. His eyes narrowed as he reached out and touched what appeared to be solid stone, but his hand passed through it. A magic illusion. He immediately stepped back and drew his blade, assuming a stance. So you've been hiding here all along. I'll see your face soon, Kella. Inside, the stone flared again. He's noticed the entrance, it warned. Kella cursed under his breath and clenched his jaw. Just my luck. But then, to his surprise, Killian halted. He sheathed his sword and looked down, thinking. If I destroy the island now, the main forces will rush in. I don't need them, not for a few demons. And I'm not handing their lives over to Deed. His gaze turned cold. I'll kill them all with my own hands. With that, he stepped into the dungeon. The stone immediately relayed this to Kella. He's entered the dungeon, it warned. Kella's face went rigid. In that case, I have no choice. I'll unleash every monster in the dungeon, go for an all-out assault. With a swift command, Kella activated the dungeon's defenses. Moments later, Killian found himself surrounded. Towering golems and treasure spiders emerged from the walls and floors, encircling him. Killian shifted into a battle stance, calmly assessing the threat. Golems and treasure spiders. Not a combination I expected. Blue light surged around his sword and enveloped his body in a radiant aura. Then, with a swift motion, he swung his blade, and the monsters were cleaved in an instant. Inside the bunker, the stone flared again. All monsters have been defeated. One strike, from Killian. Kella's face turned pale. No way. He wiped them all out in a single blow. That didn't even buy us any time. He's stronger than I imagined. Meanwhile, Killian continued advancing, deeper into the dungeon. He arrived at a split path. Without much hesitation, he picked one, murmuring, either path should do. Inside the bunker, the stone buzzed again. He's taken the left path, the one that leads to Srills. Kella froze, his heart pounding. Of all the paths, he chose that one. Srills is in danger. Meanwhile, on the other side of the island chain, Audria, one of Killian's squad members, unleashed her destructive aura and obliterated an entire island. But upon inspection, there was no trace of Kella. She immediately reported back to Curdly, who was observing the operation through her swarm of surveillance butterflies. This one's a bust too, Audria relayed, her voice tinged with frustration. Doesn't seem like the right island. Almost at the same time, Kalka, another member of Killian's team, leveled a separate island with brute force and reported back. Nothing here either, just empty ruins. Deed, standing atop a cliffside with his summons beast standing beside him, sighed in disappointment. Another dead end, he muttered bitterly. I was really hoping I'd find it first. If Captain Killian gets there before I do, I'll lose my chance to kill Kella with my own hands. Back inside the hidden dungeon, Killian continued along the path he'd chosen earlier. As he ventured deeper, he finally stumbled upon Srills, wounded, her body wrapped in bandages and encased within a magical barrier. Blood pooled beneath her, a clear sign she had been barely holding on. Killian's expression hardened. You! Srills. The traitor of Talcan. A memory stirred from the depths of his past. He remembered the old training grounds. He had just single-handedly taken down 5 level 4 trainees, his blade barely even scratched. The other students stood frozen, awestruck. As expected of Killian. He's in a whole different league, one of them whispered. But amidst the stunned silence, his older brother Kilman, bloodied and panting, rose defiantly. It's not over yet, he cried. Come on, Killian! Let's go again! Their instructor intervened, striking Kilman's head with a wooden staff. Don't be ridiculous, Kilman. He's your brother. Don't you understand? You'd need 100 years just to catch up to him. Go train harder and come back. Kilman's eyes burned with frustration. Damn it! Killian, quiet and composed, turned to him. Brother! I'm sorry! Later, while walking alone past the various training zones, Killian's mind wandered. From the moment I first picked up a sword, everything felt numb. Empty. Like time was dragging. The only constant was that sword, and my brother beside me. Then, something had broken that monotony. He passed a small combat pit and spotted Srills training aggressively. Her face was bruised, arms trembling, but her eyes still burned with defiance. Isn't this enough already? Her instructor asked. Why don't you give up? Shut up! She screamed. It's not over yet! Watching her, Killian felt something stir in his chest. That wild, untamed look in your eyes, like a beast struggling to survive. That was the first time anything ever made my heart race. Too bad we were in different training divisions. A while later, Killian approached his instructor with a supply pouch. You want me to give this to Srills? The instructor asked, puzzled. She's just an unpaid magic trainee. This was assigned to you. I won't be needing it, Killian said flatly. She's always injured. Always at death's door. The instructor narrowed his eyes. You're actually worrying about someone? Don't tell me you like her or something. Killian didn't answer. Just make sure she gets it, he said, walking away. Seriously, you're no fun at all, the instructor muttered. As he left, Killian thought silently, with how loud you are, Srills, people are bound to notice. Years passed. One evening, as Killian's unit prepared for deployment, the instructor approached him again. Killian, you've been delivering these supplies for years now. Why not give it to her yourself? You're heading off on an expedition tomorrow. You might not see her again. Killian shook his head. No. Please, just make sure she gets it. That night, hidden in the shadows, he watched Srills tending to her wounds, applying medicine and bandaging her arms. She grumbled to herself. Damn it! I should have won this time. Why am I the only one who always ends up relying on this extra medicine? It's humiliating. If only you had been by my side back then, Killian thought. We could have stood together as white Talcan warriors. Not burdened by that cursed bloodline of the Demon King. Just you, the feral beast who once made my heart burn, by my side forever. Snapping back to the present, he looked down at her. But now, were you consumed by ambition beyond your limits? Without hesitation, Killian unsheathed his sword. With a single, powerful slash, he shattered the magical barrier. Srills collapsed to the ground, unconscious and vulnerable. Fate always cuts like a blade, he thought grimly. Inside the hidden bunker, Rin turned to Kella urgently. Shouldn't we go save her now? Didn't you say Commander Srills is in danger? Kella clenched his jaw. She's already trapped in a magic barrier. None of my spells worked against it. I couldn't even scratch the surface. We have no way to bring her back. But still, Rin began. Kella's thoughts raced. If he's truly on the level of a Talcan warrior, my life energy won't even faze him. This isn't the game I once knew. This time, I could actually die. Suddenly, a deafening crash echoed from above. Kella's eyes widened. What was that? The noise came from outside. The wall above them shattered into pieces as Killian broke through, descending into the secret room with Srills slung over his shoulder. He tossed her aside like baggage and silently turned his gaze toward the towering statue that stood deep within the bunker. Kella's blood ran cold. He came in alone, that's it. This really is the end. Killian stepped cautiously through the dimly lit dungeon, his eyes scanning the worn walls and scattered debris. He thought to himself, This place is old, but someone's been here recently. The traces are too fresh. His gaze then shifted forward as he raised his voice with calm authority. I know you're watching, Kella Kaldan, he declared, his tone neither angry nor urgent, simply stating fact. I don't want others gathering here. If you wish to save Srills, who shares your bloodline, then come out. Now. Slowly, deliberately, he raised his sword and aimed its tip at the unconscious Srill's throat, making his intent crystal clear. Far behind the crumbling walls, Kella watched the scene unfold through a magical surveillance stone, jaw clenched, hands trembling. Damn it, he thought bitterly, saving Srills is one thing, but facing Killian? Even all of us together wouldn't last a minute. We couldn't even handle Curdly, Killian would tear us apart. Before he could spiral further into panic, Rin placed a hand on his shoulder. Lord Kella, she said firmly. There's only one way now. Wood and I will distract him. You must escape through the passage behind the statue. What? Kella's eyes widened. You want me to run? Alone? Wood stepped forward. It's the only way, Lord Kella. You're the heir to the Demon King's bloodline. Your survival matters more than anything right now. Kella's voice lowered, heavy with guilt. But Rin, Wood, if I leave, he'll kill you. Rin met his eyes. Then so be it. But you must live. That's the best thing we can do, for all of us. Before Kella could protest further, Rin and Wood burst out of the bunker and into the open, facing Killian head-on. Rin shouted defiantly. White Talcan! I won't forgive you for what you did to Lady Srills! Killian turned to them slowly, unimpressed. Just as I thought, crawling out like insects. In that moment, Wood slammed her shield into the ground. From it, sharp, twisted roots erupted, forming a barrier between Killian and the others. Now, Lord Kella, she whispered under her breath. I blocked his sight, run. Without another word, Kella bolted from the bunker, heart pounding. I'm sorry, he thought. Rin. Wood. Srills. This isn't like the game I used to know. Back then, you could die and respawn. But not here. Not in this world. I hate this helpless feeling. But I won't die like this. As Kella disappeared into the passage, Rin glimpsed him reaching the far exit. He made it. Lord Kella got away. But her relief was short-lived. Killian surged forward, his blade cutting through the roots with frightening ease. The shockwave knocked Rin off balance, sending her tumbling backward. Where is he? Killian demanded, eyes cold. He was never here. Rin snapped, flinging a flurry of daggers at him. Killian deflected them effortlessly. Wood reacted quickly, using her roots to ensnare Killian's sword arm. For a moment, he was held in place. A demon and a dark elf. Killian scoffed. Is this really all you can muster? With a flash of his blade, he shattered Rin's daggers midair and slashed her across the shoulder, making her stumble and cry out. He grabbed her by the neck with one hand, yanking himself free from the roots. In the same movement, he dragged Wood toward him and lifted her off the ground by the throat. Rin's eyes widened in horror. I have to buy more time. It's no use, she said breathlessly. We'll never tell you where Lord Kella is. I didn't ask, Killian replied flatly. But if he appears to save you, my job gets easier. If not, then I kill you. The emptiness in his eyes sent a chill down Rin's spine. Those eyes, that hollow look. I've never seen anything like it. Not even from demons. It's like looking into a void. Wood began coughing violently, blood splattering from her lips as Killian's grip tightened. Rin clenched her fists, her whole body shaking. I'm terrified. I don't want to die. But then her thoughts turned to Kella. With renewed resolve, she shouted. Just kill me! For Lord Kella's sake, I'm not afraid to die. Wood, despite the pain, echoed. Same here. Lord Kella isn't here. So just end it. Killian raised his blade, aura flaring along its length. Kella, I didn't expect your allies to be this loyal. Fine. In recognition of your devotion, I'll grant you a quick death. But just before the strike fell, a voice cut through the dungeon like lightning. Who are you calling a subordinate? Kella dashed in, eyes blazing, intercepting the attack just in time. He pushed Killian back, standing protectively in front of Rin and Wood. Killian's expression didn't change, but his tone shifted. So you've finally come out. Kella. Rin and Wood gasped. Lord Kella? Why did you come back? But Kella didn't answer right away. His gaze locked on Killian, and his thoughts swirled. This really isn't a game. There's no respawning. Once you die, that's it. But Rin, Wood, Srills. We fought together. We suffered and laughed together. We lived. How could I turn my back on that? How could I ever abandon my friends? He tightened his grip on his weapon. I'm here. I won't let them die. Kella narrowed his eyes and asked firmly. Your target is me, isn't it? Then let them go. At his words, Killian released his grip on Wood's throat. She collapsed to the ground, coughing violently and gasping for air. Without emotion, Killian replied, My brother died because of your father. That's why I've made it my mission to wipe out not just the Demon King's bloodline, but every last demon in existence. Kella's expression didn't waver. I've encountered people like you before, he said calmly, then added in thought, in both games, and in real life. He took a breath and spoke again. So, you'll chase me down to the ends of the earth, no matter what, until you kill me? Without waiting for a reply, he charged forward and swung his sword. Killian met the attack with ease, blocking it without flinching. From the side, Rin shouted, Kella, it's too dangerous. We'll fight with you. But Kella barked back with authority. That's an order. You two must take Srills to safety, immediately. Rin hesitated, clearly torn, but before she could argue further, Wood bowed her head, voice tight with frustration. He's right. We have to do what he says. We're in no condition to help. She quickly began lifting Srill's unconscious body. Seeing Wood so emotional caught Rin off guard. Even Wood, she thought. Go! Now! Kella shouted again. That's a direct order. Grinding her teeth, Rin obeyed. She grabbed Srills and began retreating. Understood, Kella. But, in exchange, you have to survive this. Promise me! As Rin and Wood fled with Srills in tow, Kella continued clashing swords with Killian. Amid their furious exchange, Killian spared a quick glance at the unconscious girl being carried away. Kella seized the opening and drove his sword forward, forcing Killian back. Where are you looking? He taunted. Focus on me. Killian steadied himself, eyes cold. You're just buying time for them to escape, aren't you? His voice turned mocking. So, even the Demon King's descendant shows signs of sentimentality. That kind of weakness will be your downfall. With that, Killian surged forward, striking Kella with brutal force. The blows sent Kella hurtling through the air, crashing into the stone wall with a thunderous impact. Killian advanced slowly, sword lowered like a judge's verdict. With this, the Demon King's bloodline ends here. Coughing, Kella pushed himself off the rubble, pain lancing through his body. He's on a completely different level. Is this what it means to face a true powerhouse? His legs trembled. His body refused to move. One more strike like that, and I'll die. That sword could cut me in half. But Kella's eyes burned with resolve. Now that I've been exposed, there's no point in hiding it anymore. If I'm going to die, then I'll fight with everything I have. A deep crimson aura exploded from his body, encasing his form and blade in the bloodline's unholy energy. With a roar, he lunged at Killian again. Killian narrowed his eyes. That power! So Srills wasn't the only one who neutralized Arsal's magic. But even as he spoke, Kella's movements sharpened. I can see it, Kella thought in awe. I can follow his sword. It's like I've become someone else entirely. Killian blocked another strike, gritting his teeth. You definitely carry the Demon King's blood, but that doesn't change how this ends. He struck back with a devastating slash, sending Kella crashing into one of the dungeon's pillars, which shattered under the force. Kella staggered to his feet, breathing hard. Is this what one man's strength can do? This is insane. Meanwhile, Rin and Wood were rushing through the collapsing dungeon, Srills in their arms. The whole place is falling apart, Rin cried. Don't tell me, Kella, we follow his orders, Wood interrupted firmly. Right now, getting Srills out is our top priority. If only she'd regained consciousness, Rin muttered. The exit's just ahead, Wood said, urgency in her voice. We need to escape before the whole dungeon comes down. I know. Back in the battlefield, Kella managed to slice Killian's cloak with a precise strike. Killian looked down and scoffed. Impressive, that sloppy swordplay actually cut my cloak. It's only thanks to the sword training I received in the past that I'm still holding on, Kella thought grimly. But I can't control this power. The more I use it, the more it tears me apart. I won't last long like this. Killian shook his head. You're shortening your lifespan just to buy time for your friends? Foolish. They're not my subordinates, Kella snapped. They're my comrades. He jumped high into the air and struck again. The force of their clash shook the crumbling dungeon. Killian glanced up briefly. At this rate, Deeb must have noticed the commotion. Playtime's over. With a fierce counter, Killian disarmed Kella, knocking the sword from his hand and sending it clattering across the floor. Damn it! Kella cursed. Killian stepped in without hesitation and drove his blade into Kella's chest. If you meet your father in hell, he said coldly, tell him it was I who killed you, as retribution for my brother. Kella screamed in pain, blood bubbling from his lips. My healing can't keep up. Is this really how it ends? Am I dying here, just like that?
We got plenty more where that came from. Hit the subscribe button and stay tuned for even more amazing content.